Chapter 1581. The bird-faced man sighed and said, "I'm Fei Yuan. Before I leave, I can help your Majesty solve some problems in Black Crow City." "Of course. Your Majesty has to trust me. It's good that you're willing to help me, but I'm a suspicious person. I don't believe that someone would help me for no reason." Ling Xiao looked at the bird-faced man with vigilance. There was no need for him to intervene in this battle. The blood-sucking scourge was completely spent. Under the attack of the puppet army of the Heavenly Dynasty Empire, it was only a matter of time before it was destroyed. In addition to the coordination of the Spirit Design's attacks, all of this was logical. He was more concerned about why this bird-faced man called Fei Yuan would help him. Hee, your Majesty won't believe me if I say I don't want anything." Fei Yuan smiled and said, "Then I'll be frank. As your Majesty has seen, I'm good at using talismans in battle. As for the talisman's refinement, it requires a powerful bloodline power and martial spirit power. Once it's done, I only ask your Majesty to give me the Black Raven Empire's founder's blood and the Heavenly Raven martial spirit. The refining of talismans requires bloodline power and martial soul power." Ling Xiao knew how to make simple secret scrolls, but he knew nothing about talismans. He asked in confusion, "Let's talk while we walk. The battle here doesn't need us anymore?" Fei Yuan asked. "Okay." Ling Xiao hesitated for a moment, then nodded. He didn't trust Fei Yuan, but some risks were worth taking. The two flew into the sky and headed towards the inner city of Black Crow City. On the way, Fei Yuan told Ling Xiao, "In the Immortal Court continent, many warriors can't use more than 2 martial souls at the same time. So the heavenly masters there created talismans. With the martial soul as the core and bloodline power as the core, they can refine talismans into their spirit realm and use them repeatedly. This is the legendary Blood Soul Talisman. Blood Soul Talisman is more powerful than ordinary talismans. It can be used repeatedly, and its power will increase with the increase of the warrior's strength. It can be cultivated in the spirit realm. Every martial soul could be used to refine a blood soul talisman, and fresh blood with the power of the bloodline was the key to drawing the blood soul talisman. Different bloodline powers would allow the blood soul talisman to display different powers. For example, if you have the ancient infernal dragon soul, you can refine the ancient infernal Dragon Blood Soul Talisman. After refining it, the Blood Soul Talisman can do anything the ancient Infernal Dragon Soul Talisman can do for you without affecting the power of your martial soul. Another example is that I have the Thunder Martial Spirit, and what I make is the Thunder Blood Soul Talisman. The bloodline power used to draw this Blood Soul Talisman is the Thunder Spirit Bloodline. This bloodline power can strengthen the power of the Thunder Blood Soul Talisman. If I were to use the Wind Spirit Bloodline, then I would be able to make my lightning attacks even sharper. If you use the ancestral bloodline of the Black Crow clan, this Lightning Blood Soul Talisman can release black blood lightning. Hee, Brother Fei Yuan, aren't you afraid that I'll steal your skills?" Ling Xiao asked with a chuckle. "I'm not afraid. The refinement of the Blood Soul Talisman requires a martial soul and bloodline power. You also need to know how to draw special inscriptions. If I didn't tell you that, you would never have learned it." Fei Yuan shook his head. "I see." Ling Xiao nodded and secretly asked the Yuan Venerate, "Master, do you know how to refine the Blood Soul Talisman?" "Of course. Then why didn't you tell me before?" Ling Xiao asked in surprise. "I didn't tell you before because your cultivation base wasn't high enough. In fact, there is another requirement to refine the Blood Soul Talisman. You have to reach the Yin-Yang realm and break through to the 18th level of the Yin-Yang realm before you can truly grasp the essence of the inscriptions." The Yuan Venerate answered. The Yin-Yang realm was different from the Grotto Heaven realm and the Skyman realm. At this level, a martialist could already understand Yin-Yang. In order to control the cycle of reincarnation, one had to step into the 18th level of the Yin-Yang realm, which was also known as the 18 levels of hell. Strictly speaking, Ling Xiao wasn't a true Yin-Yang realm martialist yet. His cultivation base was there, but he hadn't experienced the first level of the hell of tongue ripping. Without the power of the first level of the Yin-Yang realm, it was impossible for him to break through to the second level. According to the Yuan Venerate, each level of the 18 levels of hell had many inscriptions. They were divided into 4 major categories: physical attacks, buffs, weakening, mystic attacks, and thousands of subcategories. If he wanted to obtain them, he had to find them himself. This was also why the Yuan Venerate hadn't told Ling Xiao about the Blood Soul Talisman in the past. Even if he knew, he wouldn't be able to refine it. However, since he had said so much today, he might as well tell his disciple so that he wouldn't think that he was hiding it. I see, Master. I understand. However, how can I enter the first level of the hell of tongue ripping? Ling Xiao asked. Well, there aren't any hard and fast requirements. It is said that when one's cultivation reaches a certain level and is about to enter the second level of the Yin-Yang realm, signs will appear. You will understand when the time comes, the Yuan Venerate replied. Understood, the Yuan Venerate answered. I understand. Thank you, Master. My good disciple, be careful of this flying kite. This fellow seems to be from the Jingyi school and is plotting against you. The Yuan Venerate suddenly reminded him. Master, you think so too? I have the same feeling. However, this fellow's familiarity with Black Crow City isn't fake. He wants to make use of me, and I want to make use of him. Everyone is just making use of each other. Ling Xiao chuckled. In short, you just have to be careful. This fellow is very strong. You aren't his match for the time being. If you need me to take action, just let me know. Don't worry too much about things that involve your life. After all, I'm finished if you die. The Yuan Venerate added. Understood. After listening to the Yuan Venerate, Ling Xiao became even more vigilant against Flying Kite. During the flight, he separated his twin martial souls from his body and hid in a dark place while the other party wasn't paying attention. This way, even if he was accidentally destroyed by Flying Kite, he wouldn't die as long as his twin martial souls didn't die. It was better to be safe than sorry. He didn't want to die here, just as he was about to do something big. That would be really bad. This is the underground maze of Black Crow City. The relatives of the royal family of Black Crow City are all hiding inside. However, I didn't bring you here to find them. I brought you here to the underground royal tomb in the maze. Flying Kite, who didn't know about the conversation between Ling Xiao and the Yuan Venerate, was also very cautious. Although he believed that he was much stronger than Ling Xiao, based on what he knew, Ling Xiao was very cunning. He didn't want to end up like the Raven Queen and fail miserably. Therefore, he wouldn't easily reveal his sinister side until the very end. He really wanted to help Ling Xiao find the underground royal tomb and obtain the things inside first. However, he wouldn't let go of Ling Xiao's ancient hell dragon and Tao Tai martial souls. Chapter 1582. The underground royal mausoleum was the location of the mausoleum of the Black Crow Empire's kings. It was protected by a powerful formation. However, Ling Xiao and Fei Yuan did not come here to destroy these mausoleums. Instead, they came here to take away 3 treasures of the Black Crow Empire. One of them was a national treasure, a holy statue made of extraterrestrial blood copper. With this thing, the luck of the Black Crow Empire would not be cut off. Therefore, Ling Xiao had to destroy it. The second treasure was the heavenly crow martial soul. It could be said that the various crow-type martial souls of the Black Crow Empire were all derived from the heavenly crow martial soul. The third treasure was the heavenly crow bloodline, which was the most ancient bloodline of the Black Crow clan. According to the agreement, Ling Xiao could destroy the treasure. The other 2 treasures would belong to Fei Yuan. If Fei Yuan really accepted such an agreement, then Ling Xiao would not go back on his word. After all, He was not interested in the other two treasures. More importantly, without Fei Yuan leading the way, he would not have been able to find such a secret place, let alone activate the mechanism here so easily. Let's take what we need. Ling Xiao glanced at Fei Yuan and said, "Of course." Fei Yuan nodded and said, "However, in order to obtain the Heavenly Crow martial soul and Heavenly Crow bloodline, I will need your Majesty's help." "Say it as long as I can do it." Ling Xiao nodded and said, "Of course you can do it. You just need to lend me all of your powerful soul power." Fei Yuan smiled. "Are you serious?" Ling Xiao looked at Fei Yuan. He was not surprised by such an excessive request. This was because he already knew that Fei Yuan must have ulterior motives for bringing him here. There is no love without reason in this world, and there is no hatred without reason either. Of course, I brought you here because I hope to use you. Anyway, even if you give me all of your soul power, you won't die. At most, you will become a fool." Fei Yuan chuckled and said it very casually. It was as if it was no big deal for Ling Xiao to become a fool. "What if I don't agree?" Ling Xiao looked at the flying kite. He was fully prepared and was not afraid of the flying kite at all. Of course, the most important thing was that the flying kite didn't seem to know that he was very proficient in array formations. He had actually brought him to the underground royal mausoleum that was protected by a great array. In that case, there was no need for him to escape. With the help of this formation, he would definitely be safe and sound. "If you don't agree, I will kill you." A ferocious expression appeared on the bird face of the flying kite. Then it instantly pounced towards Ling Xiao. Its speed was so fast that if Ling Xiao was not prepared, he would really be killed. Even if Ling Xiao condensed into light, it would be impossible for him to avoid such a speed. Rumble! The flying kite's claws struck less than a foot away from Ling Xiao's head. A strange layer of light appeared, blocking the flying kite's attack like a sturdy shield. "You actually managed to control the array formation in the underground royal mausoleum so quickly." The flying kite looked at Ling Xiao, who was inside the layer of light, in surprise. It was a little depressed. It had meticulously planned and brought Ling Xiao to this narrow place so that Ling Xiao would not have a chance to escape. Who knew that in the end it had still miscalculated. It's not that exaggerated. I can't say that I control it. I can only enter and take refuge. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, "Originally, you and I could be very good partners. You get what you want, and I destroy what I want to destroy. But you are too greedy. Aren't you afraid that I will go out and kill your woman?" The flying kite said coldly, "Perhaps you could have done it just now, but it's too late now. If you don't escape now, I'm afraid the one who will die will be you." Ling Xiao revealed a mocking smile and said, "Do you think that I would not be cautious when cooperating with someone like you?" Outside, the sound of the moon maiden breaking through the air could be heard. "Damn it, in a small place like the divine Phoenix continent, I can't use my strength. Otherwise, why would I be afraid of the moon maiden who has not recovered her cultivation?" The flying kite was really a very decisive person. Seeing that it could not do anything to Ling Xiao, and that the moon maiden was here, it gritted its teeth and turned to leave. However, before it left a sentence for Ling Xiao. "Kid, we will meet again. I will never give up on what I should get from you. I'm afraid that you don't have the ability." Ling Xiao glanced at the flying kite and then found that the moon maiden had let a few people in. "Little man, are you okay?" "I'm fine, Sister Moon Maiden." Not only was Ling Xiao fine, but he was also very good. He had just glanced around the underground royal tomb and found that there was a strange piece of memory metal hidden in the holy statue of the Black Crow Empire. The memory metal was rumored to be brought by people outside the mystic world. Some said that it was brought by the human king. There were different theories, but its function was similar. This type of metal was used to record images, sounds, and words. Its capacity was very large, and it was much more impressive than things like books and jade slips. Sometimes a piece of memory metal the size of a thumb could record the contents of all the books in the entire divine Phoenix Empire. That was how terrifying it was. He destroyed the holy statue and took out the piece of memory metal from it. The moment he touched the memory metal, Ling Xiao could not help but reveal an expression of ecstasy. Master, this piece of memory metal actually records the refining method of the Blood-Soul Talisman from the immemorial era. It seems like the Blood-Soul Talisman wasn't refined by the celestial masters of the Immortal Court. It already existed during the immemorial era. Ling Xiao sent a spiritual message to the Yuan Venerate excitedly. It seems like the real objective of the flying kite is this piece of memory metal. He has been hiding in the Black Crow Empire for so many years, disguising himself and not revealing his strength. Who would have thought that in the end it would be snatched away by you? He must be furious. The Yuan Venerate couldn't help but laugh. Probably. I want to try refining the ancient, dragon blood soul talisman first. Ling Xiao also smiled. If what the Yuan Venerate said was true, then the flying kite would really suffer a huge loss. However, this didn't matter to him. What he wanted to do now was to find the refining method of the blood-soul talisman from this memory metal. Then he would try refining it. This would prevent him from using the ancient dragon martial soul in the future, which would consume a large amount of spiritual power and internal energy. The blood-soul talisman could store energy and nurture it in the spirit realm. Although it would consume a lot of energy during normal times, the amount was very small. Furthermore, this energy wasn't wasted. It was stored in the blood-soul talisman. When it was used, it was equivalent to releasing the energy that had been accumulated during normal times. It could greatly reduce Ling Xiao's consumption during battle without weakening its power. This was definitely worth a try. Are there any inscriptions recorded in the memory metal? The Yuan Venerate asked. There are records that say that all blood-soul talismans related to dragons can be inscribed with dragon inscriptions. However, inscriptions can only be found outside the mystic world or at the 18th level of the yin-yang boundary. Ling Xiao answered. Chapter 1583. In that case, it seems like you can only make a trip to the Hell of Tongue Ripping. The Hell of Tongue Ripping is the first level of the 18 yin-yang realms, so there will definitely be dragon inscriptions there, although they might not be of a high grade and are only white inscriptions. You can still make do with them. The Yuan Venerate pondered this for a moment. What are white inscriptions? Are there different grades of inscriptions? Of course. There are 7 grades of inscriptions: white, green, blue, purple, red, gold, and rainbow. What's the difference? Ling Xiao asked again. There isn't much difference in power, as the power of the blood-soul talisman mainly depends on the martialist's cultivation, spirit power, and martial soul grade. It has little to do with the inscriptions. The difference between inscriptions lies in energy consumption, attack range, and incubation time. For example, white inscriptions consume more energy, take a longer incubation time, and have a smaller attack range. The Yuan Venerate explained in detail. I understand. No matter what, obtaining the inscriptions is the key, right? Ling Xiao chuckled. Yes, the good thing is that the inscriptions can be replaced directly after refining the blood-soul talisman. There is no need to refine it again. The Yuan Venerate shared a piece of good news. It seems like I have to cultivate here for a while. I have to enter the Hell of Tongue Ripping first. Ling Xiao said as he glanced at the moon maiden guarding outside. Do whatever you want. Xia Li and the others are outside, so everything is handled very well. Your Majesty, the Heavenly Emperor, just obediently be a symbol and a legend. The moon lady chuckled. Fortunately, I chased after you this time. Otherwise, I'm afraid you would have to run for your life again. Yes, I didn't expect that there would be a powerhouse like Fei Yuan here. Ling Xiao had to admit that it was indeed fortunate that the moon lady had arrived in time. Otherwise, even if he was fine, many people outside would have been killed by Fei Yuan. After saying that, he sat down in a lotus position and started cultivating. During the previous battle, he had killed many blood demon lords and blood demon generals, so he had accumulated a lot of energy. However, he hadn't integrated it, so he hadn't been able to open the hell of tongue ripping. After sitting there in a lotus position for less than 15 minutes, Ling Xiao suddenly opened his eyes. He discovered that there was a strange, giant door hanging above his head. The door was closed, and a terrifying aura was constantly being released from within. The words tongue-pulling hell were engraved on it. Without hesitation, Ling Xiao pushed open the giant door and walked in. From an outsider's point of view, he had been sitting there without moving. Only his soul had truly entered the hell of tongue-ripping. In the blink of an eye, half a day had passed. The Moon Maiden sat there and looked at Ling Xiao anxiously. At this moment, half of Ling Xiao's body had started to mutate. It was as terrifying as a ghost. This was the danger of cultivating in the yin-yang realm. Any martial artist who stepped into the 18 levels of hell had to come out within a certain period of time. If he was unable to come out, he would completely turn into a malicious spirit and lose his will. However, if he came out too early, it would be meaningless. He would still not succeed in his cultivation. Usually, 2 hours was the best time, but Ling Xiao had been in the tongue-ripping hell for quite a long time. However, to the Moon Maiden's surprise, an ordinary person would have turned into a malicious spirit after half a day, but Ling Xiao's body had only undergone a few changes. It seems like our little man has a lot of secrets. The Moon Maiden smiled. She had no intention of prying into Ling Xiao's secrets. Her only hope now was that Ling Xiao could come out as soon as possible. No matter how special a person's body was or how powerful their soul was, there would still be problems if they stayed in there for too long. However, another half a day passed. 90% of Ling Xiao's body had transformed into a malicious spirit. His entire body seemed to be wrapped in a layer of white bones. Only the small area around his eyes was still empty. This layer of white bones looked very beautiful. It was like a layer of armor covering a martial artist's body. Furthermore, it had a very nice name. It was named Hell Body by Yin-Yang realm martial artists. However, a nice name did not mean that it was good. Hell Body meant that a martial artist's soul had been completely devoured by hell, turning him into a walking corpse. The Moon Maiden was really anxious. However, there was nothing she could do. Facing this situation, she could only watch and pray that Ling Xiao could create a miracle. After another quarter of an hour, Ling Xiao's entire body was finally covered in a white, bony substance. It looked very cool, but the Moon Maiden's expression was very bad. This meant that the little man she had always trusted had completely failed on his path to the second level of the Yin-Yang realm. "Sister Moon Maiden, why are you so sad?" "I'm fine." A voice came from the mouth of the Hell Body, giving the Moon Maiden a fright. "Impossible! How can you talk to me in the form of a Hell Body?" The Moon Maiden was stunned. She was a martial artist who had lived since the primordial age, but she had never seen such a thing. "Nothing is impossible. I just entered the hell of tongue ripping through my essence soul. I felt that this hellish body could increase my combat strength, so I tried to accept it completely. Now, I feel like it has no effect on me." Ling Xiao smiled and mumbled. Then, the hell body returned to its original appearance of Ling Xiao. "You really scared me to death. Next time, if you want to look at me like this, you should at least let me know. Just now, I wanted to die with you." The Moon Maiden wanted to cry and laugh at the same time. She was helpless. I'm sorry, Sister Moon Maiden. I was afraid that the hell body would disappear if I spoke, so I waited until it was fully formed before speaking." Ling Xiao chuckled. He realized that in the state of the hell body, his dark power had increased tremendously. He was even confident that he could defeat a martial artist at the 4th level of the Yin-Yang realm in that state. This was an unexpected gain. However, it was best not to use the hell body for more than 15 minutes. This was something that Ling Xiao had experienced himself. After 15 minutes, he would gradually lose himself. That was a very scary thing. Although his combat power would continue to increase, he would not be able to differentiate between friend and foe and would attack randomly. As for Ling Xiao, unless he had no other choice, he didn't want to lose himself. As a person, he still hoped to be able to fight while maintaining a clear state of mind. "You found the dragon inscription?" the Moon Maiden asked. "I found it. It's a green dragon inscription," Ling Xiao said excitedly. In the 18 layers of hell, the best inscriptions in the first 3 layers were blue. Ling Xiao was extremely lucky to find a green one in the first layer. The white inscription required twice the energy to activate. The attack range was only 1 square meter. The incubation time was more than 24 hours in the mystic world time, but the combat time was only half an hour. The green inscription was much better. It required 5 times the energy to activate. The attack range was also increased to 10 square meters. The incubation time was reduced to 12 hours. The combat time was still half an hour. However, this was already a great improvement. Chapter 1584. After obtaining the green dragon inscription, the next step was to refine the ancient Hell Dragon Blood Soul Talisman. The materials were ready. Refining the Blood Soul Talisman required spirit stones, martial souls, bloodline power, and inscriptions. These were not a problem for Ling Xiao. He had obtained an upper-grade spirit stone and had kept it in his storage ring. It was no problem for him to take it out today. As for the martial soul, it was the ancient Hell Dragon Soul. As for the bloodline power, his first choice was the blood of the ancient Hell Dragon King, which was the easiest to obtain and extremely powerful, because he had it. As for the inscriptions, he had just obtained them. In fact, the inscriptions were the worst among the materials. However, his cultivation was only at the first level of the Yin-Yang realm. He could not enter the higher level of the Yin-Yang realm, so he had to make do with them. In fact, refining the Blood Soul Talisman was not too difficult. With Ling Xiao's experience in refining secret scrolls, it was actually very easy. The most troublesome part was to integrate the Blood Soul Talisman with himself and cultivate it in his spirit ocean. Then he could use it with a thought. This process was not only troublesome, but also took a lot of time. Ling Xiao calmed down again and began refining the Blood Soul Talisman. The Moon Lady stayed there the whole time, quietly protecting her man. Outside, Xia Li and the others were nervously but orderly taking over Black Crow City. As for the nobles of the Black Crow Empire, if they were obedient, they could keep a little dignity and live a good life. If they dared to rebel, they would be killed without mercy. It had to be mentioned that there were still capable people among the nobles of the Black Crow Empire. Although their strength was not reliable, they were very good at managing the country and the city. What Ling Xiao needed now was not only martial artists, but also civil officials. Of course, how to make these guys do things obediently was something Jining had to consider. After all, Jining was the main person in charge of the Divine Phoenix Continent. What Ling Xiao needed to do was to improve his strength. He was like the absolute symbol of the Divine Phoenix Empire, a god created by the god-making movement. As long as he does not fall, the Heavenly Empire will not fall, and there is no need to care about the actual affairs. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, another 2 days went by. However, Ling Xiao still did not leave the underground royal mausoleum. What was interesting was that Yin wind raged all year long in the royal mausoleum, and it was cold. However, in these 2 days, there was a sudden surge of terrifying heat. The terrifying heat was so hot that even the chilly wind that had been wreaking havoc all year round was unable to withstand it. Sweat dripped down Ling Xiao's forehead. His face was slightly pale. Ling Xiao didn't expect that refining the blood soul symbol would be even more difficult than cultivating. It had been a long time since he was like this. However, even though it was hard work, a smile appeared on his face, because the blood soul charm was about to be completed. In front of him, there was a diamond-shaped object about the size of a palm. It was translucent like jade. It was the blood soul symbol. There were strange green inscriptions on it. There was also a golden, immemorial golden dragon blood link. It flickered with alternating green and golden light. It was really beautiful. Black flames burned inside the blood soul symbol. Although it was only the size of a fingernail, it gave people the feeling that it seemed to have a terrifying explosive force and could produce a shocking power at any time. However, Ling Xiao knew that this was only the first step. The blood soul symbol was successfully refined. The next step was to inject soul force into it and completely connect it with a spiritual vein. Only then would it be considered a success. Origin soul out of the shell. Ling Xiao was really glad that he had obtained the primordial spirit remnant scroll back then. Only then could his soul become incomparably powerful, and he could even directly separate a part of it from his main body. It would not cause harm to the main body's soul. Otherwise, it would be a bit difficult for him to control this blood soul symbol. Intimidate. Ling Xiao's mouth, a voice exploded. Then, the origin soul that had left Ling Xiao's main body's soul collided with the blood soul symbol. The blood soul symbol released a terrifying power to block it. However, no matter how hard it tried to block it, it was still something that Ling Xiao had refined. A moment later, the origin soul that had its own independent consciousness broke through the blood soul symbol's defense and directly entered it. The origin soul completely fused with the blood soul symbol and became one. Ling Xiao could even feel that the blood soul symbol was like his arm and his eyes. This feeling was too real. Looks like it's a success. After all, Ling Xiao had never done such a thing before. His standard for judging whether it was a success or not was obtained from the piece of memory metal. Based on the situation, it should be a success. Yes, it's a success. The Yuan Venerate affirmed. Withdraw. With a thought, the blood soul symbol suddenly disappeared and entered Ling Xiao's spirit realm. However, there was no need to nurture it yet. After all, the top-grade spirit stone itself contained a huge amount of energy. Ling Xiao had only done this to try and see if he could retract and release it freely. Symbol come. With another thought, the blood soul symbol quickly appeared and floated in front of Ling Xiao. It was still the size of a palm, but its terrifying power was something that no one dared to underestimate. Blood soul symbol hellfire. Ling Xiao muttered an incantation, and the blood soul talisman suddenly released a terrifying light. The area within a 10-meter radius was instantly turned into scorched earth. TSK. This power is really terrifying. Ling Xiao nodded in satisfaction when he saw the terrifying power of the blood soul symbol before putting it away. He had been in Black Crow City for a few days now. It was time to think of a way to head to the White Tiger continent. That was a martialist's paradise. Little man, you're finally done. There's a piece of news. Do you want to hear it? The Moon Lady asked with a smile as Ling Xiao walked out of the underground royal tomb. Is it related to the White Tiger continent? Ling Xiao asked. That's right. Dragon Phoenix Mountain has sent people here. They're currently in the Divine Phoenix capital. Their purpose is also for the White Tiger meat. The Moon Lady smiled and said, this time Dragon Phoenix Mountain seems to have brought a few disciples over. These people are martialists who are born and raised in the White Tiger continent. I reckon they're going to spar. What do the people of Dragon Phoenix Mountain think about us killing Yuan Tianluan? Ling Xiao asked. They didn't mention it, and they don't intend to be enemies with us. In fact, Dragon Phoenix Mountain has always been divided into the native faction and the Dragon Phoenix sect. They're always fighting with each other. Yuan Tianluan is an inner elder of the native faction. However, the Dragon Phoenix sect is the main force in Dragon Phoenix Mountain. The Moon Lady explained. Interesting. If that's the case, I can still participate in the White Tiger meet through Dragon Phoenix Mountain? Ling Xiao's idea was simple. Although he could go to the White Tiger continent through other means, it wasn't as convenient as going to Dragon Phoenix Mountain. Moreover, he had a grudge with Yuan Tianluan, not the entire Dragon Phoenix Mountain. Besides, even if there was a grudge, couldn't he make use of the enemy? Chapter 1585. If he could pave the way for his future, even if they were his enemies, he had to make use of them. I just don't know if they will mess around like last time. Originally, the last Dragon Phoenix election was to select talents for the White Tiger Tempest meet. But that incident happened. It made Dragon Phoenix Mountain and Divine Phoenix Continent lose face. It shouldn't be that bad. After all, Dragon Phoenix Mountain personally sent people here. Moreover, it is said that there is an old man called Dragon Phoenix among the people who came this time. Although I don't know him, the Wine Demon's sword said that this person is not bad. At least he is fair. The Moon Maiden replied, "Then let's go and try. If there is a situation like last time, we can just make a big fuss again. Now, in Divine Phoenix Continent, no one can completely suppress us." Ling Xiao said with a smile, "But little man, you have to know that once you step out of Divine Phoenix Continent, you will face a completely different world. At that time, even I might not be able to protect you. Do you really want to go?" The Moon Maiden asked, "If I always hide in my turtle shell, I will never be able to become a person above others. The Divine Phoenix Continent is only so big, I can't hide here forever." Ling Xiao smiled faintly. "Back then, when I was in the Heaven Realm, I stepped out of Heavenly Dragon Continent. Although I encountered a lot of injustice, I have never regretted it. Because if I didn't step out bravely, I wouldn't be who I am today. It will be the same in the future. Go to White Tiger Continent and see the genius disciples of one sect and 4 countries. Only in the competition will I have a better breakthrough. Since you have already decided, I won't say anything else. However, I want to follow you." The Moon Maiden suddenly smiled. "I can't stand the pain of missing someone. Moreover, as you said, I have stayed in Heavenly Dragon Continent and Divine Phoenix Continent for too long. It is time to go out and take a look. I wonder if those old friends are still alive?" "Old friends?" Ling Xiao looked at the Moon Maiden curiously. He knew that the Moon Maiden had experienced the ancient war. Did those old friends also survive the ancient war? Don't guess blindly. You will know when the time comes. Moreover, there is a debt that I must settle. The Moon Maiden's eyes glinted. "Sister Yuanu, are you talking about your disciple Yihua?" Ling Xiao smiled and said, "I once said that Yihua and her boyfriend took away your moonlight heart. I will definitely help you get it back." "Thank you, little man. But you have to work harder to fulfill this wish." The Moon Lady touched Ling Xiao's face and smiled. "Yihua is very strong. She has long surpassed me, not to mention her man. That guy is a true monster. I even suspect that he isn't from the sealed world at all. Am I not a monster enough?" Ling Xiao asked with a smile. "Yes, my little man is even more talented than him, but he still needs time to grow." The Moon Maiden felt a sweetness in her heart. After being betrayed by her disciple, Yihua, she thought that she had lost her feelings. However, Ling Xiao's appearance changed everything. She had to thank the heavens for sending her such a person. 2 days later, after stabilizing the original disciples of the Black Crow Empire and establishing the Black Crow Province, Ling Xiao brought the Moon Maiden, Cold Plum, and the Silver Moon Greedy Wolf back to Forest Sea City. On the day Ling Xiao appeared, all the people in the city knelt down and prayed for blessings. In the eyes of these people, Ling Xiao had long become a god in their hearts, an invincible god of war. In the dragon-slaying forest, Ling Xiao displayed his incomparably powerful strength. And this time, Ling Xiao went to the Black Crow Empire alone. He actually quelled the Blood Demon Calamity, took down the Black Crow Empire, and established the Black Crow Province. In order to completely turn Ling Xiao into a god, the Celestial Empire consciously carried out some propaganda. The scene of Ling Xiao fighting the Blood Demon army was faithfully recorded using the memory metal and broadcast to the people and soldiers of the entire empire. This move was undoubtedly successful. After this time, Not only did Ling Xiao's position as the Celestial Emperor become more stable, but a large number of the Black Crow Empire's people and separatist warlords chose to join the Celestial Empire. There were even many members of the Sea clan who walked out from the deep sea and became the people of the Celestial Empire. Ling Xiao had always treated those who sincerely wanted to join him equally. After all, the mystic world was very big. If he wanted to conquer, it was inevitable that he would need talents. The Sea clan had a natural advantage. Joining the Celestial Empire would definitely increase their strength. At first, Ling Xiao was really not used to the kneeling and praying of the people, but now he no longer felt that it was inappropriate. He was the Celestial Emperor of the Celestial Empire, an invincible god of war. He had to accept such kneeling and praying with a clear conscience. Of course, he would also take on the responsibility of protecting these people. After staying in the sky for a while, Ling Xiao went to Qingshu College in Forest Sea City. This was basically his home now. The Celestial Emperor did not live in the palace, but lived in Qingshu College. He was quite willful. However, Ling Xiao felt that this was good. After all, he was going to leave this place soon. Building a palace would only be a waste of money. Qingshu College, everything was in order. The once deserted college was now very lively. In order to avoid trouble, Ling Xiao did not show himself. Instead, he quietly went to Feng Qingyan's courtyard. It was much quieter here. Only Feng Qingyan, Shang Guanhong, Long Chen, Hai Miankeo, and Hua Fuguang were there. Obviously, they were discussing the invitation from the Dragon Phoenix Mountain. Your Majesty. Seeing Ling Xiao, Feng Qingyan hurriedly stopped what he was doing and stood up respectfully. Principal Qingyan, there are no outsiders. You don't have to be so polite. Ling Xiao waved his hand and said casually. However, Feng Qingyan did not dare to be casual. In the past, he respected Ling Xiao because Ling Xiao had saved his life. However, today he could clearly feel the extremely powerful aura coming from Ling Xiao. Had the youth of the past finally grown to such a level? Your Majesty has reached the Yin-Yang realm? Feng Qingyan hesitated and asked. Yes. Ling Xiao smiled and nodded. There was nothing to deny. Hearing this, Shang Guanhong, Long Chen, Hai Miankeo, and Hua Fuguang were all stunned. After a while, Shang Guanhong shook his head and smiled bitterly. I thought that after breaking through and reaching the 8th Grotto Heaven realm, I could close the gap with you. I didn't expect the gap to grow bigger. Me too. I'm so depressed. Ever since Long Chen unleashed the power of the Golden Dragon, his cultivation had naturally improved by leaps and bounds. Now he had reached the half-step Yin-Yang realm. He thought that he had surpassed Ling Xiao, but now it seemed that not only had he not surpassed him, but the gap had widened. I don't even know what to say. Hai Miankeo was the most helpless. Back in the Heavenly Dragon continent, her cultivation was much stronger than Ling Xiao's. Now, her cultivation was only at the 8th Grotto Heaven realm, the same as Shang Guanhong. However, Ling Xiao was already at the Yin-Yang realm. This gap was getting harder and harder to close. Chapter 1586. Needless to say, Hua Fuguang didn't even put Ling Xiao in her eyes when she was in the City of Sin. She didn't expect that Ling Xiao would surpass her today. Cold Plum also broke through. Ling Xiao added and threw a heavy thunderbolt bomb. It's a pity that you guys didn't participate in the Blood Devil Calamity. Otherwise, you might have also achieved such a breakthrough. Ling Xiao shrugged and said, Let's not talk about this. I came back this time for 3 reasons. First, I want to know about the invitation from Dragon Phoenix Mountain. Second, I want to know what Feng Ming Qi Mountain has been doing during this period of time. Third, I want to make a decision based on the first 2. Feng Qingyan said, Dragon Phoenix Mountain sent an invitation 3 days ago. 7 days later, the White Tiger Meets participant selection will be held in Dragon Slaying Forest. It will be hosted by Master Dragon Phoenix and the others. What are the conditions? Ling Xiao asked. This time, The requirement is that one's cultivation must be at the 6th Grotto Heaven realm or above. It's much stricter than the last Dragon Phoenix election, so Ling Luo, Lan Yu, and the others probably won't be able to participate. Feng Qingyan replied, I know that. What's the second thing? What did Feng Mingqi Mountain do after ascending the throne? Ling Xiao asked again. Phoenix cried Qishan, this guy is really powerful. After ascending the throne, he immediately gathered all the forces in the capital into his own hands, and then annihilated dozens of large and small nations around the divine Phoenix Empire. Of course, there were also those who surrendered. The current divine Phoenix continent has become a situation where the Heavenly Empire and the divine Phoenix Empire are confronting each other. On the other hand, Feng Mingqi Mountain sent Feng Yinshan to the 7 Martial Sect Island and completely took over the 7 islands. This caused the divine Phoenix Empire's strength to increase explosively, and they suddenly had many Yin-Yang Realm and Grotto Heaven Realm experts. Feng Yinshan is really good at enduring. This guy is very dangerous. Whether it was Feng Mingqi Mountain or Feng Yinshan, these 2 princes of the divine Phoenix Empire were using their own methods to become stronger. Ling Xiao had met so many opponents, but he had always been wary of these 2 people. One was incomparably tyrannical, possessing terrifying talent. It was fine if he didn't make a move, but once he did, it would amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. One of them was unparalleled in wisdom, calm, and reserved. It was as if he was emotionless in everything. Even when his position as the God Emperor was snatched away, he was still able to face it calmly and endure it patiently. That was the scariest part. What else? What about the 5 Immortals Island? Ling Xiao asked. The Blackwater Immortal Island and the Permitha Immortal Island have already become vassals of the divine Phoenix Empire. Feng Qingyan said with a sneer. In the past, the 5 Immortals Island was so arrogant that they didn't put the divine Phoenix Empire in their eyes at all. Now, there were actually 2 forces that had pledged allegiance to the divine Phoenix Empire. As for the remaining Everlasting Joy Immortal Island, Tianpeng Immortal Island, and the Sacred Dynasty Immortal Island, their control had long since declined. The vassals that originally belonged to them had now all become vassals of the divine Phoenix Empire. This was the most obvious point. What about the other 3 islands? Ling Xiao asked. Feng Mingxiao led a group of people to the Tianpeng Immortal Island. It seems like they are going to attack. The Black and White Elders led dozens of Yin-Yang Realm experts to the Everlasting Joy Immortal Island. They clearly have the intention of attacking. Even Phoenix, Cry, Qishan himself has taken action. I'm afraid that the Everlasting Joy Immortal Island will not be able to escape this time. Feng Qingyan continued. As for the Sacred Dynasty Immortal Island, they're being attacked by the Permitha Immortal Island and the Blackwater Immortal Island. They are already on the verge of collapse. Ling Xiao nodded and said, The Everlasting Joy Immortal Island and the Tianpeng Immortal Island have done us a favor. We can't just sit by and do nothing. Sister Moon Maiden, I hope that you can personally lead a group to the Tianpeng Immortal Island. What do you think? No problem. As long as this little man thinks that we should save them, I will definitely help. The Moon Maiden smiled. All right, Senior Liquor Demon Sword, please lead a group to the Sacred Dynasty Immortal Island. You don't have to care about the lives of others. Just help me save a girl named Ji Mengmeng and her brother. Ling Xiao was a person who cherished old friendships. If others helped him with a drop of water, he would definitely repay them with a spring. No problem. In fact, the Liquor Demon's sword had always been there. It was just that this person didn't know if he liked to act cool or if he really didn't want to see others. He was always hiding in the dark. Ling Xiao had asked him to do something, and he had only responded with one sentence, and it was very simple. After the 2 of you have settled your matters, go to the Everlasting Joy Immortal Island. Originally, I didn't plan to become enemies with Phoenix, Cry Chi Mountain so soon. However, I must protect the everlasting joy immortal island. I can't let the hearts of those who have helped us become cold. Ling Xiao said again. The Moon Maiden and the Liquor Demon soared left. As for how many people to bring, and who to bring, they still needed to discuss with Jining. Haim Miankeo looked at Ling Xiao. Her beautiful eyes wandered, and she couldn't help but sigh with emotion. She and Ling Xiao met in the Tianlong continent. Back then, that kid was just a disciple of the Yuehua school. Now that he had grown up, he had actually reached the level of controlling the world. A year ago, she definitely didn't dare to think like this, and such a domineering and heroic person was actually only 17 years old. He could be said to be outstanding. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was the most valiant genius in the history of the Tianlong continent. Perhaps the sacred dynasty couldn't rise again, but in Ling Xiao's hands, an empire that was even more prosperous than the sacred dynasty of the past would be born. And now it was just the beginning. Whether Ling Xiao could take this firm step or not, it would depend on whether he could stand firm in the White Tiger continent. If he easily failed after going to the White Tiger continent, then this legend would come to an end. She, Haim Miankeo, would quietly watch all of this. Your Majesty, there's one more thing that I need to remind you of. This time the White Tiger continent's sects that came to the Divine Phoenix continent are not only the Dragon Phoenix Mountain, but also the Water Spirit Hall. The headquarters of the Water Spirit Hall is located in the White Tiger continent. In the past, you had grudges with the Water Spirit Hall in Sin City and Killing Dragon Forest. I'm afraid that this time they won't let you have an easy time. Feng Qingyan suddenly added, Why is the Water Spirit Hall here too? Isn't the Dragon Phoenix Mountain recruiting? Ling Xiao frowned and said, To be precise, the Water Spirit Hall and the Dragon Phoenix Mountain belong to one of the 4 great empires of the White Tiger continent, the Tianhai Empire. This time, rather than saying that we're joining the Dragon Phoenix Mountain, it's better to say that we're working for the Tianhai Empire. Feng Qingyan explained. So it's like this. Didn't they say that the Tianlong continent and the Divine Phoenix continent would specially form a team to participate in the competition? Ling Xiao was a little disgusted. He felt that he had to rely on someone else's charity again. This kind of feeling didn't feel good. There's no other way. Who asked the Tianhai Empire to be so powerful? Even the Dragon Phoenix Mountain doesn't dare to go against their will. Feng Qingyan sighed and said, Forget it, let's not think so much. When the car reaches the mountain, there will be a way. When the boat reaches the bridge, it will naturally straighten itself out. There will always be a way. Ling Xiao still wanted the Heavenly Dragon Continent and the Divine Phoenix Continent's martial artists to form a single team. This way, they would be able to see the difference between them and the other forces and encourage the martial artists of the 2 continents to work even harder in their cultivation. Chapter 1587. Who's there? In the middle of a meeting, Ling Xiao suddenly frowned and looked out the window. I'm a messenger from the Tianhai Empire. Since Ling Xiao has returned, please hurry to the dragon-slaying forest. A voice came from outside, but the speaker refused to show himself. Sneaky and deliberately mystifying things. You didn't even come to greet me. Is this the rule of the Tianhai Empire? Get out here. Ling Xiao frowned. This person actually trespassed into Qingshu College. This was a big taboo for both Lin Hai City and Qingshu College. On one hand, it showed that this person was powerful. On the other hand, it showed that this person didn't take Ling Xiao seriously at all. How could he not flip out? Although he wouldn't kill the other party, he still had to show his strength. Following his angry roar, an explosion came from outside the window. That person was actually blasted out from his hiding place. His face was in a sorry state. Before he could say anything, Feng Qingyan had already captured him alive. Your Majesty, this is my responsibility. The recent war just ended, and I was a little lax. This will never happen again. Feng Qingyan threw that person to the ground and said to Ling Xiao, "Don't do it again. This is related to the safety of Forest Sea City and Qingshu Academy." Ling Xiao glanced at Feng Qingyan and said coldly, being polite was one thing, but when it was time to be serious and show the power of a celestial emperor, he would never be soft-hearted. He knew very well whether it was public or private. "Yes, Your Majesty." Of course. Feng Qingyan also knew that he had made a big mistake. Fortunately, the other party wasn't here to assassinate anyone, but to pass on a message. Otherwise, there would be a big problem. "Ling Xiao, how dare you? Dragon Phoenix Mountain is also under the jurisdiction of the Tianhai Empire. How dare you be disrespectful to me?" The messenger was thrown to the ground. His acupuncture points were sealed and he couldn't move, but he could still speak. Slap. Ling Xiao didn't need to speak. Naturally, someone slapped this guy hard in the face. "This is the Divine Phoenix Continent, the Celestial Empire. You better be clear about this." Ling Xiao glanced at the emissary and said, "You can pass on the message openly and respectfully. Are all of you from the Tianhai Empire so unruly?" The emissary wanted to roar, but the blood at the corner of his mouth made him grit his teeth. In the end, he didn't shout, "Take this person away, flog him 20 times, then throw him out of Forest Sea City." Ling Xiao saw that he didn't say anything, so he sneered and said, "This is a lesson for you. If there's a next time, I'll kill you without mercy." "Ling Xiao, you self-proclaimed idiot. If you dare to touch me, you will definitely die a horrible death." At first, the messenger was already silent, but when he heard that Ling Xiao was going to hit him with the staff, a burst of anger immediately erupted. He was the Tianhai Empire's emissary, representing the Tianhai Empire. To actually be humiliated in a mere small country, how could he endure it? Not to mention that the staff wasn't light. Simply put, the staff was a military staff, fused with secret arts. Although 20 flogs wouldn't kill him, he would definitely be crippled. Say that again. Ling Xiao stared at the emissary and revealed a hint of a cold smile. "I'll give you a chance to live. Don't seek your own death." "Bah. Kid, if I give you face, you're some dog's hit, Celestial Empire's heavenly emperor. If I don't give you face, you're nothing. Your father doesn't believe that you really dare to kill me." The emissary directly spat a mouthful of saliva at Ling Xiao. Although it didn't hit, it was very obvious that Ling Xiao's expression didn't look too good. And this guy actually continued to roar recklessly. "You better hurry up and let me go and kneel down to apologize. Otherwise, I'll destroy your celestial empire." "Is that so?" Ling Xiao glanced at the emissary coldly. Suddenly, he raised his hand, and a cold light tore through the void. The emissary's head rolled to the ground. "Wrap his head up. I want to give it to the people of the Tianhai Empire. Let them know that although my celestial empire is small, it definitely can't be humiliated." Ling Xiao said coldly. "Yes." Immediately, someone wrapped the head up and put it into a gorgeous box. Ling Xiao held the box and smiled. Then he stood up and said, "Let's go. Since they've invited us, it won't do if we don't go." "Your Majesty, there are some words that you might need to hear." Feng Qingyan suddenly said, "Originally, the people of the Tianhai Empire came to the Divine Phoenix Continent to select people to participate in the White Tiger meet. Although the Five Immortals Island doesn't belong to the Tianhai Empire, they have always been subjects of the Tianhai Empire and have always paid tribute. The countries on the Divine Phoenix Continent are all vassals of the Five Immortals Island, so they are naturally treated as subjects by the Tianhai Empire. A subject is still a subject, and an even more lowly one. However, Phoenix Crime Mountain's outstanding performance and the rise of the Divine Phoenix Empire still made the Tianhai Empire give the Divine Phoenix Empire some face. If it was in the past, the Tianhai Empire would only let Dragon Phoenix Mountain handle the matters here. They simply couldn't be bothered to care about this backward continent. "Principal Qingyan, what do you mean by telling me all this? I don't understand." Ling Xiao asked doubtfully. What I want to say is that the Tianhai Empire thinks highly of themselves and considers everyone beneath their notice. You have killed their people, so you should be mentally prepared. Feng Qingyan finally voiced out his worries. I thought it was something big. In any case, I originally didn't plan to be a vassal of the Tianhai Empire. If their attitude is better, it's fine to participate in the White Tiger meet in their name. But if their attitude isn't good, then at worst, we can just start another furnace. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He had always felt that there was no problem in this world that couldn't be solved. Panicking whenever he encountered something was definitely not his style. Your Majesty, if you ask me, it's better for you to follow the Tianhai Empire to participate in the White Tiger meet. After all, the White Tiger continent is extraordinary. Feng Qingyan knew that although Ling Xiao was arrogant and stubborn, as long as what he said was reasonable, the other party would still listen. That was why he suggested it. Amen, you're right. I'll try my best. But if others aren't willing, then there's nothing I can do. Ling Xiao also didn't want to make a big deal out of it. After all, the Tianhai Empire's accumulation wasn't enough. But he wasn't someone who liked to be bullied. If the other party didn't let him have an easy time, then at worst, he would just shed all pretense of cordiality. Then, Your Majesty and the few of you, you have to be careful. When Feng Qingyan saw that Ling Xiao had accepted his advice, he nodded his head in satisfaction. Then he reminded him again. After all, the situation this time was different from the dragon-slaying forest. At that time, only the Divine Phoenix Continent, Sky Dragon Continent, and the affiliated islands participated in the selection. And this time, the Tianhai Empire brought the geniuses of Dragon Phoenix Mountain and Water God Hull. How could there be any weaklings? Why was the selection condition raised to the 6th Grotto Heaven realm this time? It was probably because the weakest cultivator coming was at the 6th Grotto Heaven realm. Chapter 1588. Young people were more impatient and liked to fight fiercely. It was inevitable that there would be casualties in this competition. That was why Feng Qingyan reminded everyone to be careful. Of course, the situation would not be worse than in the dragon-killing forest. After all, the Tianhai Empire also wanted to pick out true geniuses from here to buy the other 3 empires and the Jing School. If they could take the lead in the White Tiger Storm Conclave, then they would have the upper hand in the struggle for hegemony in the White Tiger continent in the future. After bidding farewell to Feng Qingyan, Ling Xiao brought Cold Plum, Hai Miankeo, Shangguanhong, and Long Qin to the dragon-killing forest. Hua Fuguang did not go. She had changed her mind. On that battlefield, there needed to be competition, and on the Empire's side, they also needed generals to lead the troops. There were not many navy generals in the Tianhai Empire who could fight. Hua Fuguang and the Hua sisters were outstanding. Although the results in the White Tiger meet would make her famous, Hua Fuguang chose to stay. However, Hua Fuguang would rather stay and help Ling Xiao build a powerful navy. In the future, attacking the White Tiger continent would be inseparable from this powerful navy. Thank you. Ling Xiao glanced at Hua Fuguang and left with the box in his arms. Behind him, the other 4 people headed toward the dragon-killing forest. The dragon-killing forest was not as noisy as it usually was. According to the Tianhai Empire's request, the selection this time was not for spectators to watch. Therefore, the Divine Phoenix Empire had sealed off the area early in the morning and only allowed the participants and the organizers to enter. A gentle breeze blew, and the forest was filled with birds and flowers. It was a unique feeling. As soon as Ling Xiao stepped in, 3 figures floated over. Brother Ling. The 3 of them spoke at almost the same time. Beautiful figures, each with their own unique characteristics. Feng Minglian was silent and reserved. She had an extraordinary temperament and a beautiful face. Feng Mingxue was cold and arrogant. She was a natural beauty. Ji Luiyu was lively, playful, and beautiful. Seeing that the 3 of them were waiting for Ling Xiao, The divine guards of justice guarding nearby had unnatural expressions. Some were envious and some were angry. Of course, he dared to be angry, but didn't dare to say anything. Ling Xiao had destroyed the Phoenix Cry Mountain and Mount Fengming in the Slaying Dragon Forest. Those two were once the elites of the divine guards of justice. They naturally hated Ling Xiao, but they also feared Ling Xiao. No one dared to obstruct Ling Xiao's path because everyone was afraid of death. Ling Xiao's reputation for being a decisive killer had long spread throughout the divine Phoenix continent. Let's go together. Seeing Feng Minglian, Feng Mingpiaoshui, and Jiluoyu, Ling Xiao couldn't help but sigh. If he were to participate in the selection this time, he was afraid that countless pairs of eyes would go crazy with jealousy. After all, whether it was Feng Minglian, Feng Mingpiaoshui, Jiluoyu, Cold Plum, or Hai Miankeo, they were all absolute beauties that left a deep impression. If she was just a vase, it would be fine. But these girls not only had their own unique characteristics, but their strength was also not bad. To be able to gain the favor of these women, Ling Xiao felt that he was really lucky. However, being emotional was just being emotional. Ling Xiao would never put the jealousy and hatred of those people in his eyes. If he was not envied by others, he would be mediocre. On the road to success, there would always be many difficulties, and those who obstructed his progress were those obstacles. Only by eliminating them could he embark on the real road to the clouds. In the Slaying Dragon Forest, there was a large open space. Around the open space, there were many tables and chairs. On the table, there were tea and snacks, as well as fine wine and delicacies. At this time, there was a palace maid dancing in the open space. Although beautiful, these palace maids were probably vases in the true sense. Beautiful, but without any special characteristics. Ordinary people might be very tempted. But for real experts, there was not much interest. On the tables and chairs, there were already many guests, but there were still empty seats. Feng Mingqishan did not come. His seat was also empty. However, Feng Yinshan came. He sat next to Feng Mingqishan's seat. No one could tell what he was thinking. He only smiled indifferently and discussed with the warriors beside him. He seemed to be in a good mood. On the left side of the main seat, there were naturally experts from the Tianhai Empire. They seemed to be resting there with their eyes closed, somewhat disdainful of everything in front of them. They even felt that talking about this topic would pollute their voices. In addition, Dragon Phoenix Mountain's Master Long Huang and Water God Temple's Tianhaimo were also here. These two people were talking in low voices and seemed to be quite happy. On the right side, there were genius experts from Water God Temple and Dragon Phoenix Mountain. 3 people came from Dragon Phoenix Mountain. It was said that they were the 3 strongest warriors under the age of 30 in Dragon Phoenix Mountain. In the White Tiger continent, they were also known as the 3 heroes of Dragon Phoenix. 8 people came from Water God Temple. One of them was actually the Tianhai Pearl that Ling Xiao had seen before. After not seeing her for more than half a year, the Tianhai Pearl's strength was clearly much stronger than before, and the person leading the Water God Temple was a genius known as the Dragon Prince. This person was extremely arrogant. His body was lying on the Tianhai Pearl's lap, and there was actually someone feeding him. The other 6 people, along with the Tianhai Pearl, were known as the 7 heroes of Water God Temple. Their names were not small, and their strength was not weak. Even Feng Yinshan did not dare to underestimate any of these people. Of course, other than the 2 people on the Divine Phoenix Continent's Dragon Phoenix list who had been killed by Ling Xiao, as well as Feng Mingqishan and Dan Feng, everyone else was present. After all, this was not an ordinary selection. The fact that the people of the Tianhai Empire had come was enough to show the importance of this selection. Otherwise, only the Dragon Phoenix Mountain would have sent people here. That Ling Xiao is really arrogant. Does he really think that he can be arrogant just because he became the bullshit heavenly emperor of some grassroots empire? In Water God Temple's array, a person coldly glanced at the seats reserved for Ling Xiao and the others. His expression was very ugly, and his words were even more unpleasant. I advise you to be polite to him, or you'll die. Zhu Xiaocong said indifferently, "What a joke! Do you really think that I, one of the 7 heroes of Water God Temple, am afraid of a mere Ling Xiao? Your Divine Phoenix Empire's martial artists are useless, and the top 10 of the Dragon Phoenix list do not live up to their names. Otherwise, how could 2 of them have been killed by that brat?" The one who spoke was the loudest 7th hero of Water God Temple. With his sturdy body and powerful cultivation, he definitely had the qualifications to say such words. Of course, that was when it came to others. If it came to Ling Xiao, it would be as Zhu Xiaocong said, he would suffer a great loss. Why don't the 2 of us fight first? Zhu Xiaocong stood up and looked coldly at 7th hero with a gloomy expression. At this moment, he only wanted to settle the matter here as soon as possible and then return to Canopy Immortal Island to fight against Feng Mingxiao's encirclement with his father. Of course, he could not leave now. This was his father's death order. Just like Ji Huangtian MOU and Zhongyu Huangquan had all come here, he, Zhu Xiaocong, had to fight for Canopy Immortal Island. Chapter 1589. Dan Feng and Feng Mingqishan had been chosen by the Tianhai Empire's martial artists during the last Dragon Phoenix election. Their powerful cultivation had already proven their strength. There was no need for them to come here. Let's fight then. Who's afraid of who? 7th hero was not afraid of Zhu Xiaocong at all. After all, the 7 heroes of Water God Temple were actually stronger than the top 10 of the Dragon Phoenix list. If it was Phoenix Cry Qishan, perhaps he would be afraid, but he really was not afraid of Zhu Xiaocong. The Tianhai Empire has already sent people to inform Ling Xiao. He won't dare to not give us face. After all, he's not Phoenix Cry Qishan or Danfeng. He doesn't have the right to refuse our invitation. The Tianhai Empire's people finally spoke. In their opinion, Ling Xiao should be like a dog that would come and go as they wished. Boom! At this moment, something was suddenly thrown in the middle of the clearing, scaring the dancing girls into dodging. Who dares to cause trouble in Dragon Kill Forest? Weren't you waiting for me? I'm already here. Ling Xiao's voice came from afar. Then his figure appeared in everyone's sight. However, beside that figure, there were actually several beautiful and refined women accompanying him. It was simply maddening to the point of jealousy. "Brother Ling, you're finally here." Feng Yinshan stood up and cupped his hands with a smile. "Hidden Mountain Crown Prince, there's no need to be so polite. Since I received the invitation, I naturally had to come. However, the Tianhai Empire's people did not know the rules, so I chopped off his head. You don't mind, right?" It was fine if Ling Xiao did not speak, but once he did, it was simply shocking. The scene instantly became much colder. The Tianhai Empire's elites exuded extremely terrifying auras. "Little bastard, you dare to kill my Tianhai Empire's people?" The Tianhai Empire had sent 3 elites. Actually, they were not too strong. One was at the 2nd level of Yin Yang Realm, while the other 2 were at the 1st level of Yin Yang Realm. They probably learned their lesson from Dragon Phoenix Mountain, so they did not dare to send an elite like Yuan Tianluan. If they died here, it would not be worth it. The one who spoke was a 1st level Yin Yang Realm elite dressed in blue. He trespassed into Linhai City and Qingshu College without informing us. That is a capital offense. I even gave him a chance, but who knew that this person was so stubborn that he actually dared to insult me, so I chopped off his head. Ling Xiao said indifferently, "So what? Even a dog of our Tianhai Empire is nobler than you, the so-called Celestial Emperor. How dare you kill our people?" The blue-clothed expert's face was extremely gloomy. The cultivators at the side did not try to dissuade him, allowing him to spout nonsense. The Water Spirit Temple's cultivators were gloating. They didn't have a good impression of Ling Xiao. After all, Ling Xiao had killed several of their divine envoys. "I've already killed him. What are you going to do?" Ling Xiao looked at that person with disdain and sneered. You killed a single person from my Tianhai Empire, and I'll wipe out 100 people from your trashy empire. Of course, I'll have to include your life to make it worth it. The blue-clothed expert added, Kill him. Ling Xiao suddenly said lightly, then walked to the empty main seat and sat down. Ah! A scream rang out in Killing Dragon Forest. While everyone was still shocked that Ling Xiao dared to sit on Phoenix Cry Divergent Mountain seat, the blue-clothed expert from the Tianhai Empire had already died tragically. The one who attacked was naturally Cold Plum. Cold Plum, who had broken through to the Yin-Yang realm, was now even more skilled at assassination. The blue-clothed expert did not even notice when she attacked. Brother Ling, isn't this a bit too much? Feng Yinshan frowned and said, whether it's the Divine Phoenix Empire or the Celestial Empire, they're all vassals of the Tianhai Empire. Even if those three aren't very strong, you can't kill them. They represent the Tianhai Empire. When did the Hidden Mountain Crown Prince, I know, become so wishy-washy? If someone barged into your palace at night, what would you do? Ling Xiao said casually, It's just killing a piece of trash. I believe the Tianhai Empire won't care. Can we begin this selection? The experts from the Tianhai Empire were trembling with anger, but they did not dare to say anything. Ling Xiao, this guy was really like the rumors, a madman. He killed people without mercy, not giving you a chance to fight back. It was really too terrifying. Surnamed Ling, your subordinates are quite strong, but even so, you don't have the qualifications to sit on that seat. On the Water God Hall side, the Dragon Crown Prince lazily glanced at Ling Xiao and said, That's Phoenix Cry Divergent Mountain seat. Even if you want to sit, only Dan Feng has the qualifications. You're not worthy. Whether I'm worthy or not, it's not up to you. Ling Xiao just sat there casually, not caring at all. Although his cultivation was indeed inferior to Phoenix Cry Divergent Mountains, he was the Celestial Emperor of the Heavenly Empire. His status was equivalent to Phoenix Cry Divergent Mountains. In this kind of situation, he could not be weak. Furthermore, Phoenix Cry Divergent Mountains people had not come, and he was wasting a seat. How boring. Humph. When the tiger is not in the mountain, the monkey is king. The Dragon Crown Prince coldly snorted and said, Do you know what cultivation Phoenix Cry Divergent Mountain is? Even my big brother doesn't dare to look down on him. And you actually dare to sit on his seat? I don't care what his cultivation is. He's the Divine Phoenix Emperor, and I'm the Celestial Emperor of the Heavenly Empire. We should be on equal footing. Feng Yinshan won't do anything, but he arranged me to sit in a corner. I'm very unhappy. Ling Xiao glanced at Feng Yinshan from the corner of his eyes. Feng Yinshan's expression changed slightly before instantly returning to normal. Ling Xiao's words were meant to provoke Feng Yinshan. This was because he could not see through Feng Yinshan's cultivation. He felt that this guy was even more terrifying than Phoenix Cry Divergent Mountain. Phoenix Cry Divergent Mountain strength was on the surface, but Feng Yinshan's strength had never been completely exposed. However, this guy didn't seem to be fooled at all. Hee, you don't even put Feng Yinshan in your eyes. It seems that you're very arrogant. Which one of you will go and test this Celestial Emperor's methods? Let's see if his skills are as good as his mouth. The Dragon Crown Prince sneered and said to the people beside him, I'll do it. Seventh Hero had long found Ling Xiao an eyesore. Now that she had seized this opportunity, how could she let it go? Brat, come out and spar. Let me see just how capable an arrogant fellow like you is. You actually dared to kill someone from the Tianhai Empire. I'll teach you a lesson on their behalf. I'll let you know that there's always someone better than you. You? Ling Xiao glanced at Seventh Hero indifferently, then shook his index finger and said, You're not qualified for me to take action. Long Chen, go and cripple that guy. Bullshit, you dare to look down on me? Seventh Hero was furious. He roared, Kid, we already investigated you before we came. You're at the peak of the 10th Grotto Heaven realm, and you can kill a half-step Yin-Yang realm martial artist with Yin-Yang origin energy. You're very strong, but I'm not that kind of trash. Ling Xiao smiled. He thought to himself that although these people had investigated carefully, it was a pity that they were one step too late. Chapter 1590. What's the point of saying so much nonsense? If you have the ability to kill my brother, I won't take revenge. Ling Xiao looked at seventh hero indifferently, his eyes full of contempt. Apart from Cold Plum, Long Chen was the strongest person he'd brought with him. Not to mention seventh hero, he wouldn't even fear sixth, fifth, fourth, or third. Ling Xiao knew his opponent's strength like the back of his hand. Apart from the Dragon Crown Prince, first hero and second hero, Tianhai Pearl, no one else in the Water God Hall was Long Chen's match. Of course, this was only Long Chen's strength in his dragon form. If he entered his golden dragon form, Tianhai Pearl and first hero wouldn't be his match. In the end, the Water God Hall was only a mid-tier faction in the Tianhai Empire. It was slightly stronger than Dragon Phoenix Mountain, but it was nothing in the Tianhai Empire. Whether it was the 3 heroes of the Dragon Phoenix or the 7 heroes of the Water God Hall, they weren't the strongest geniuses in the Tianhai Empire. They were just like the 10 Phoenix sons of the Divine Phoenix Empire and the 7 fiends of the Black Crow Empire. The Tianhai Empire also had its own ranking, the Tianhai Heroes ranking. This ranking listed the 100 young heroes of the Tianhai Empire under the age of 30. Probably only the Tianhai Pearl, first hero, Dragon Crown Prince, and the strongest of the 3 heroes of the Dragon Phoenix were qualified to enter. This was the terrifying aspect of the Tianhai Empire. Otherwise, why would the Tianhai Empire's envoy be so arrogant and despotic? However, the opponents didn't know Long Chen's strength, nor did they know that Ling Xiao could clearly see their strength. Their expressions didn't look too good. The Divine Phoenix Continent's cultivators were all waiting to see a good show. They knew that although Ling Xiao was arrogant, he wouldn't do anything foolhardy. Since he'd said so, he naturally had his reasons. Seventh hero glanced at Long Chen and chuckled. He should be younger than you. Why are you in such a hurry to send him to his death? Although he's the weakest of the 7 heroes, he's still a half-step Yin-Yang realm cultivator with Yin-Yang energy at 20%. It's tragic to be brothers with someone like you. Do the people of the Water God Temple only know how to talk? Long Chen walked to the open space and beckoned to 7th hero. Come, let me see what the so-called 7 dogs of the Water Spirit Temple are capable of. It's the 7 heroes. 7th hero was so angry that his entire body trembled, and he was unable to restrain his anger. What's the difference? It doesn't matter if you're the 7 heroes or the 7 dogs. You're going to die today. The corners of Long Chen's mouth curled up into a cold smile. This brat had been by Ling Xiao's side for so long that he had learned all of Ling Xiao's bad habits. However, Ling Xiao liked this kind of personality. Ah, you're pissing me off. If I don't kill you today, I, 7th hero, swear I'm not human. 7th Thing was a reckless person to begin with. When he heard Long Chen's words, how could he endure it any longer? After Xiao Chen jumped into the arena, he was about to fight Long Chen. Wait. Although he was only an expert of the Dragon Phoenix Mountain, his cultivation was very terrifying. Therefore, his words carried a lot of weight. Lord Long Huang, what do you have to say? 7th hero looked at Lord Long Huang and asked, the purpose of this gathering is for the selection. I'm afraid it's not good to kill each other. Everyone here is a potential candidate of the Tianhai Empire. It would be a pity if they died. Lord Long Huang frowned and said, those who came here were all talents. If any of them died, he would feel that it was a pity. What's the matter if trash dies? Tianhai Mo smiled and said, you can't expect trash to fight for the Tianhai Empire, right? That's right. Only a life and death battle can show one's true strength. All the participants here today must fight at least once. Otherwise, you'll automatically withdraw. The people of the Tianhai Empire were in charge of this gathering. Naturally, they had the final say on the rules. Fortunately, the rules seemed to be quite fair. It wasn't like the last time where everyone went to kill Ling Xiao. Therefore, Ling Xiao didn't turn around and leave. The rules have been explained. Can we start the battle? Ling Xiao yawned and said with some boredom. He didn't come here to drink and eat. His only purpose here today was to obtain the admission ticket to the White Tiger meet. Haha, it seems like you think your subordinate can defeat me? Seventh Hero smiled and looked at Ling Xiao. Since that's the case, why don't we make a bet? Okay, what do you want to bet? Ling Xiao asked indifferently. If I kill him, you will kneel down and apologize to me and all the cultivators of the Water Spirit Temple in front of everyone. You will say that nothing good comes out of a dog's mouth. If he kills me, the Water Spirit Temple will let bygones be bygones. How about it? Seventh Hero said. This blockhead had suddenly become shrewd. If no one had given him pointers, it would have been impossible. Ling Xiao glanced at the crowd and found that Sixth Hero was talking to Seventh Hero through soul sound transmission. Humph! He suddenly snorted coldly, and a terrifying soul force broke through the air, causing Sixth Hero to vomit blood. Are all the people of the Water Spirit Temple so bored? Sneaking around, what can't you say face to face? Ling Xiao stared at Sixth Hero and said, Your bet is too boring. How about I say one? If Long Chen is killed by Seventh Hero, I will kill myself on the spot. If Seventh Hero is killed by Long Chen, Dragon Prince, you will kill yourself. How about it? These words were said lightly, but they were filled with killing intent. Good heavens, he didn't leave any leeway at all. These words were like a heavy thunderbolt that was thrown into the crowd, causing everyone to explode. Whether they were familiar with Ling Xiao or not, they all looked at Ling Xiao in shock. They thought that this guy was definitely crazy. He actually wanted to bet his life with the Dragon Prince, and he wanted to bet his life on someone else's duel. Ling Xiao originally didn't want to risk his life, but the other party was too much of a bully. Those words were simply overbearing. And Seventh Hero's so-called bet was even more lofty. He actually wanted him to kneel here and apologize. Since that was the case, if he backed down, he would definitely be looked down upon by the other party. If he wanted to bet, then he had to bet big. The martial artists on the Divine Phoenix Continent's side all revealed mocking smiles. Although many people had enmity with Ling Xiao, there were also quite a few who were of the same mind as Ling Xiao. What's more, the people of the Water Spirit Temple were indeed arrogant. In these few days in the Divine Phoenix capital, they were simply bossy and domineering, not putting the martial artists of the Divine Phoenix continent in their eyes at all. It was said that just 2 days ago, Seventh Hero actually teamed up with Sixth Hero to forcibly humiliate a female disciple of the Phoenix Academy on the street. That female disciple angrily committed suicide. Up until now, the Phoenix Academy hadn't uttered a word. Cowardly to the extreme. Other things like eating without paying, casually beating people, and the like were actually trivial matters. But one thing was certain, these geniuses of the Water Spirit Temple really didn't put the martial artists of the Divine Phoenix continent in their eyes. Chapter 1591. The geniuses of Water Spirit Hall ran amok in Divine Phoenix capital and did not put the martial artists of Divine Phoenix continent in their eyes at all. Therefore, in the eyes of the martial artists of Divine Phoenix continent, a madman like Ling Xiao was absolutely necessary. Only a madman like Ling Xiao could make these bastards pay the price. They also did not expect that there would be a day when they would have to support Ling Xiao. They hated Ling Xiao, but they hated these guys who had no bottom line even more. On the other hand, the martial artists of Water Spirit Hall did not look good. The Dragon Crown Prince said coldly, "Bet your life with me? You're not worthy. So you're afraid? Ling Xiao said indifferently, "Fine. Since you're afraid, then just pick anyone. I don't have any special requirements for the person I bet my life with. This crown prince is afraid? I'm just disdainful. Sixth hero, you're the one who created this mess. You bet your life." The dragon crown prince glanced at sixth hero and said coldly, "This subordinate obeys." Although he said so, sixth hero was actually very unhappy in his heart. He just came up with an idea, but now he had to bet his life with someone else. Damn it. But fortunately, seventh hero was only slightly weaker than him, and Long Chen's cultivation, according to the investigation, should only be a fifth Grotto Heaven realm martial artist half a month ago. Even if his talent was outstanding, how many breakthroughs could he make in half a month? Seventh hero was definitely going to win. He did not quite understand why Ling Xiao was betting his life, but after thinking about it for a moment, he seemed to understand and said proudly, "You're just a guy who's bluffing. You think that we don't dare to bet our lives with you, so you dare to make such a request. But we Water Spirit Hall people are not cowards. This time I'll bet with you." Sixth hero felt that he had checkmated Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao already had no chance to regret. Ha! Ling Xiao just smiled and did not refute the other's words. Why should he care too much about the conclusion of an idiot? The atmosphere suddenly became tense. It was somewhat oppressive, somewhat dignified. "Come, I'll let you make one move." Seventh hero looked at Long Chen and sneered. "You're giving me a handicap? Ha ha ha, Big Brother Ling is right. Your Water Divine Hall's trash really doesn't understand the situation. Don't worry, you won't be able to use a single move." Long Chen was full of fighting spirit as he faced the seventh hero. This was the first time he had faced an opponent of the same cultivation level as him since he had reached the half-step Yin-Yang realm. However, he was not afraid to fight, because under Ling Xiao's cruel training, his combat experience and skills were definitely more outstanding than this person's. Boom! A terrifying fighting spirit suddenly erupted. Without another word, Long Chen directly pounced on the seventh hero. Regardless of whether seventh hero gave in to him or not, he would definitely win this battle. The question was how many moves he would use. No, this guy. Seventh originally didn't plan to attack. He really wanted to let his opponent attack first, because this way he could properly humiliate his opponent. However, the moment Long Chen attacked, he suddenly realized that something was amiss. Long Chen had actually released Yin-Yang origin energy at the 10th level of the half-step Yin-Yang realm. Since they were both in the half-step Yin-Yang realm, he could not give in. Otherwise, he would die. With a roar, his aura instantly erupted, and the phantom of his martial soul appeared behind him. Haha, how shameless. Didn't you just say you would let me attack first? Why did you change your mind so quickly? Your words are like farts. Is this the style of a martial artist from the Water Sacred Hall? I've learned something new. Long Chen sneered, but he didn't stop attacking. He continued to charge forward, and the fighting spirit on his body became even stronger. You're a wolf in sheep's clothing. You hid your cultivation level. How cunning and shameless. Seventh hero snorted coldly. Ha ha ha. This is the first time I've heard such righteous sophistry. You're clearly the one who doesn't have good eyesight, but you're calling others cunning and shameless. Below the stage, Zhu Xiaocong laughed loudly. He had a conflict with seventh hero before, so he felt much better now that he was laughing. Seventh hero's face turned red, but he didn't say anything because Long Chen was giving him more and more pressure. At this moment, Long Chen's body was undergoing some special changes. Originally, he looked completely human, but there were some golden dragon scales on his body. As these dragon scales continued to appear, his aura also became incomparably tyrannical. This Long Chen's talent is really outstanding. It's a pity to kill him. It would be great if he could be subdued. The Dragon Crown Prince glanced at Long Chen and couldn't help but mutter to himself, "Do you really think seventh hero can kill him?" Tian High Pearl suddenly said, That Ling Xiao is the champion of the alchemy conference. It's very easy for him to help his brother raise his cultivation level. Ha ha ha! Tian Hai Pearl, you've become so timid after losing to that Ling Xiao last time? What's the point of a mere alchemy conference held by the divine Phoenix continent? The Dragon Crown Prince didn't care at all. At this moment, Long Chen suddenly let out a loud dragon roar on the battlefield, which attracted the Dragon Crown Prince's attention. This guy is really from the dragon race. In fact, the battle between Long Chen and Boa Sheng in the dragon-slaying forest had already spread. It was just that many people were suspicious. Wasn't the dragon race extinct long ago? How could it suddenly appear again? However, today, Long Chen's body gradually transformed into a human dragon. Everyone finally understood. The legend wasn't fake. No wonder Ling Xiao is so confident. Since this guy is from the dragon race, his physique must be very good. Even if his cultivation isn't as good as 7th Hero's, he should still be able to fight. At this point, the Dragon Crown Prince suddenly smiled coldly and said, "Unfortunately, this alone isn't enough. 7th Hero isn't trash like Boa Sheng." 7th Hero obviously had the same thought. As if to prove the Dragon Crown Prince's words, his body also changed. That's the wolf race? Isn't the wolf race from the Full Moon Empire? At this moment, 7th Hero's body was obviously one size bigger. His muscles were bulging, and his body was covered in wolf fur. He also had a fierce wolf head. All of this proved that this guy was from the White Tiger Continent's wolf race. It's not strange. Although the wolf race is the main part of the Full Moon Empire, other empires have them too. Someone explained. A woo! 7th Hero, who had transformed into a half-wolf, let out a loud roar. His voice pierced through the clouds and produced a series of ear-piercing roars. Half-wolf? Looks like I have to be stronger. At this moment, Long Chen was less than 10 meters away from 7th Hero. He realized that the other party's overall strength had increased sharply after transforming into a half-wolf. He also quickly adjusted. Perfect dragon transformation. As he spoke, a terrifying power was released from his mouth again. Perfect dragon transformation was second only to giant dragon transformation. At this moment, Long Chen had completely transformed into a dragon. It was just that his body was smaller. Flapping his golden wings, he covered the distance of 10 meters in an instant. That terrifying dragon aura bloomed from his body. Chapter 1592. Roar. In the void, dragon roars rang out incessantly. Many people had already stood up from their seats, watching this scene in horror. What a powerful dragon might! What a terrifying battle intent! Was this the Dragon Clan? Known as the most perfect clan? Long Chen paid no attention to everyone's astonishment. His body charged toward 7th Hero with an unstoppable momentum. In the space, ear-piercing noises sounded out continuously. 7th Hero actually took a step back. He was scared. The Wolf Clan was ultimately just a type of beast clan. Once during the ancient war, they were the Dragon Clan's vassals. Now, facing a true golden colossal dragon, he actually felt timid. He was actually frightened by that terrifying dragon might. He even had a feeling that under Long Chen's punch, he would definitely be blasted to pieces. Run. In that instant, what he thought of was actually running away. His body involuntarily turned around and fled. But it was already too late. Idiot. The Dragon Crown Prince slammed the table and looked at 7th Hero furiously. If 7th Hero did not run, he would not have lost to Long Chen so easily. But now it was all too late. Long Chen's speed was much faster than 7th Hero's. A terrifying punch directly slammed onto 7th Hero's body, feeling the ground tremble. Bang! Boom! With a loud bang, 7th Hero's body burst apart like a balloon being hit by a knife. Fresh blood splattered everywhere. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere. The The scene was extremely shocking. Her. The water god temples, people really only know how to talk. It's useless. Long Chin stood there like a dragon god. His golden dragon scales appeared particularly beautiful under the sunlight. While everyone was shocked that seventh hero was killed, Ling Xiao's gaze turned to sixth hero. Since it's a life bet, you can commit suicide. His gaze revealed some mockery, cold and emotionless. A life bet is just talk. Why take it so seriously? In the end, these people here are all fighting for the future of the Tianhai Empire. Isn't it good for everyone to work together? Tianhai Mo suddenly laughed and said, "That didn't seem to be what you said just now." Ling Xiao glanced at Tianhai Mo indifferently, then stared at sixth hero and said, "Commit suicide. Otherwise, if I make a move, you definitely won't have an intact corpse. Elder, save me. Saint Envoy, are you just going to watch Ling Xiao run amok?" The sixth hero was only slightly stronger than the seventh hero. He knew that he wasn't Long Chen's match. Thus, at this moment, they had no intention of putting their lives on the line. They could only place their hopes on Tianhai Mo and the remaining two divine envoys of the Tianhai Empire. Tianhai Mo said indifferently, "With me here, no one can kill you." The divine envoy of the Tianhai Empire also said, "Ling Xiao, your men have already killed the seventh hero. Is that enough?" "Nonsense. If the one who died was Long Chen, would you still say that?" Ling Xiao coldly glanced at the two divine emissaries of the Tianhai Empire, his eyes brimming with ridicule. "If you agree to a bet, you must accept your loss. Don't you find it embarrassing to find all kinds of excuses at this time?" Ling Xiao coldly said, "Since you don't want to commit suicide, then let me do it." Ah! The sixth hero suddenly let out a mournful scream. A pitch-black shadow pierced his head from behind. Fresh blood seeped out, the crimson color of it striking. Tianhai Mo was unable to restrain his anger. He saw that Ling Xiao was still sitting there, unmoving. He felt that if Ling Xiao dared to make a move, he could instantly stop Ling Xiao. Who would have thought that Ling Xiao could easily kill the sixth hero without even moving? With such terrifying strength, could it be that everyone was a little doubtful of him? "What are you all staring at me for? If you agree to a bet, you must accept your loss. Since he doesn't want to die, then I'll send him to the afterlife. We're all adults, so we have to take responsibility for our words." Ling Xiao shrugged and said indifferently, "The seventh hero was dead. The sixth hero was also dead. Long Chen had only used one move to kill the seventh hero, but it was still acceptable. Long Chen's terrifying strength and powerful dragon might had caused the seventh hero to lose his composure. However, no one could clearly see how the sixth hero died. They only saw a black shadow return to Ling Xiao's shadow. What was this? The people from Water Spirit Hall weren't the only ones who were shocked. The martial artists from Divine Phoenix Continent were also shocked. They guessed that the seventh hero and the sixth hero weren't Ling Xiao's match. However, such an outcome still made them feel terrified. Half a month had passed, and Ling Xiao's strength seemed to have become even more terrifying. The sixth hero was a martial artist with yin-yang origin energy at 30% of the half-step yin-yang realm, but he was easily killed by him. If Ling Xiao were to unleash his full strength, how terrifying would he be? There was also Long Chin. In half a month, he had advanced from the fifth Grotto Heaven realm to the half-step yin-yang realm. It seemed that he had completely awakened the power of the dragon. The cultivation speed of the dragon race really made all the other races blush with shame. This included Ling Xiao, who had the Tyrant martial soul. Fortunately, he also had the bloodline of the immemorial Golden Dragon. Otherwise, he might really be surpassed by Long Chin. The martial artists from Water Spirit Hall, including the Dragon Crown Prince and Tianhai Mo, all stared blankly at the two corpses on the ground. The 7 heroes of Water Spirit Hall were the 7 strongest youths besides the Dragon Crown Prince and Water God. They originally thought that this trip to Divine Phoenix Empire would shock this declining, trashy continent. But who would have thought that after encountering Ling Xiao, two of them would die consecutively? Moreover, they weren't killed by the experts on the Dragon Phoenix list, but by Ling Xiao and his subordinates, whom they looked down on. This was really too depressing. Water Spirit Hall was a mid-tier force in Tianhai Empire. Although they weren't strong, they definitely didn't put forces like Five Immortal Island or Divine Phoenix Empire in their eyes. It would be strange if they could sit still after suffering such losses and humiliation. What they couldn't accept the most was that Ling Xiao dared to kill sixth hero after Amami's words. This was clearly not giving them any face and treating their words as if they were nothing more than passing wind. Ling Xiao, you better give us an explanation tonight. Otherwise, your heavenly empire will be consigned to eternal damnation. Tianhai Mo stood up and looked coldly at Ling Xiao. Although there were many rumors about Ling Xiao, Tianhai Mo found it hard to believe that they were true without seeing it with his own eyes. Explanation? What explanation? You were the ones who agreed to bet your lives. Don't tell me you don't want to admit your loss. Is it your Water Spirit Hall's people who are shameless? Or did the Tianhai Empire's sacred envoys not teach you dogs how to behave? Ling Xiao was still sitting in Feng Yinshan's seat. He looked at Tianhai Mo with disdain as he spoke. Tianhai Mo was only at the 3rd level of the Yin-Yang realm. He didn't fear him at all. Of course, I can understand why you're in so much pain that you wish you were dead. After all, after the Water Spirit Hall split from the sacred dynasty state religion, it has fallen to the point of being a dog for others. It's not easy to nurture a few genius martial artists, so even trash like the 7th and 6th heroes are treated as treasures. It's really pitiful. Chapter 1593. Ling Xiao had always been merciless when he spoke, especially when it came to his enemies. He was vicious. The moment he said those sarcastic words, the crowd burst into laughter. The martial artists of the Divine Phoenix continent had had enough of the Water Spirit Hall's **T. Now that Ling Xiao could make them unhappy and make them suffer, they were naturally happy. No one has ever dared to call us, the 7 heroes of the Water Spirit Hall, trash. Di Wu Ying looked coldly at Ling Xiao, his killing intent erupting. Martial artists were all prideful. How could they not dare to speak up after being insulted? No one would admit that they were trash, even if they were trash to begin with. So what if I said it? Could it be that you want to fight with me again? If you want, go ahead. Don't worry, I won't kill you. At most, I'll cripple you. Ling Xiao looked mockingly at Di Wu Ying and said indifferently. He really wanted to find an expert to fight. It would be best if it was a martial artist at the 2nd or 3rd level of the Yin-Yang realm. After breaking through, he didn't have a good fight. He needed to improve, so he had to fight continuously. Martial artists were like this. If you didn't like to fight and wanted to live in seclusion, your strength would definitely decline. It would be normal for you to be killed in the future. The profound world was such an unreasonable world. Only by constantly becoming stronger would you be able to better protect yourself and the people around you. His Tai Chi eye could clearly determine Di Wu Ying's cultivation. He was much stronger than Di Wu Ying and Di Wu Ying. Di Wu Ying had already reached the half-step Yin-Yang realm. Of course, Di Wu Ying was no match for him. Actually, he wanted to fight Di Wu Ying and Di Wu Ying. It would be best if the Dragon Crown Prince was willing to fight. However, there had to be a reason to fight. Di Wu Ying had provoked him, so he took the opportunity to challenge him. This person had spoken rudely. It was good to teach him a lesson and exercise his limbs. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao and couldn't help but sigh. Those who were familiar with Ling Xiao knew that Ling Xiao couldn't be provoked. Once provoked, unless you sincerely apologized and didn't want to die, then Ling Xiao might let you go. Otherwise, just wait for your bad luck. Ling Xiao was a guy who would never let go of his opponent. He didn't care about his opponent's identity. Di Wu-ing did not immediately accept the challenge because he did not have much confidence in himself. Even the other members of Water Spirit Temple were unable to see through Ling Xiao's depths. Just now, the method Ling Xiao used to kill the sixth hero was too strange and unpredictable. There was no warning at all beforehand. He didn't release any aura either. It was their first time encountering such a terrifying battle style. There was no doubt that Di Wu-ing was powerful, but was he really a match for Ling Xiao? If Ling Xiao used the same method to kill the sixth hero to deal with him, would he be able to withstand it? He didn't even know what Ling Xiao's true cultivation was, nor did he know what his true skills were. If he were to fight in a daze, there was a high chance that he would be crippled. Although being crippled was better than dying, as a martial artist, who would be willing to be crippled? Look at Ling Xiao's calm face. There was no trace of nervousness at all. He was clearly extremely confident and did not take Di Wu-ing seriously at all. Di Wu-ing opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but in the end, he did not say anything. He now regretted speaking so much. Now that he was faced with such a situation, he couldn't back down. He couldn't accept the challenge, nor could he reject it. It was simply awkward. If he didn't accept the challenge, it would confirm the fact that he was a piece of trash. His previous rebuttal would be more like a slap in the face. If he accepted the challenge, he might be crippled or even killed. Either way, he couldn't bear it. Old Five, sit back down. You're not his match. Let me do it. The one who stood up was the leader of Water Spirit Temple's 7 heroes. He was also a powerhouse, second only to the Dragon Crown Prince among those who came here. His cultivation had already reached the 3rd level of the Yin-Yang realm. Seeing the first hero invite him to fight, Ling Xiao's body suddenly trembled. He felt inexplicably excited. Crippling Di Wu-ing was too boring. Although there was some pleasure, it couldn't compare to a life and death battle with the first hero. He absolutely believed that he could stimulate his own potential and improve his cultivation by one step when facing the number 1 hero. First hero, you're too shameless. Everyone knows that you're already at the 3rd level of the Yin-Yang realm. Even if you face the top powerhouses of the Divine Phoenix continent, you won't be afraid. Now, you're actually inviting Ling Xiao, who isn't even in the top 10 of the Dragon Phoenix list. "Mo," you said coldly from a seat. Among the top 10 of the Dragon Phoenix list, the ones who had a good relationship with Ling Xiao were Dan Feng, who was ranked 1st, Zhu Xiaocong, who was ranked 6th, and Mou, who was ranked 7th. Dan Feng wasn't here, so it was normal for Mou to speak up for Ling Xiao. "Ha ha ha, brother Mou, you're right. These people are indeed shameless. However, today I appreciate your kindness. Since the first hero is willing to fight with me, I, Ling Xiao, won't avoid the battle. I'm not like some trash from the Water's Sacred Hall." As he spoke, Ling Xiao glanced at Di Wu-ing with cold mockery. Di Wu-ing didn't say anything. Ling Xiao was right. He didn't dare to accept the challenge. If he couldn't figure out his opponent's strength, he was afraid that he would be crippled. This was the truth. No matter how much Ling Xiao mocked him, he couldn't refute and could only accept it. "So, you're willing to accept this battle?" The divine envoy of the Tianhai Empire suddenly asked. "Yes, of course I accept. I've already said that the Water Sacred Hall is a bunch of scoundrels who only bully the weak. I, Ling Xiao, am not afraid of a battle. I accept anyone's challenge," Ling Xiao said loudly. "Even if it's a life and death battle?" The divine envoy of the Tianhai Empire asked. "A life and death battle is even better." What Ling Xiao needed was the tempering of life and death. Otherwise, what was the point of fighting? It wouldn't excite him at all. "Good. Since that's the case, I'll fulfill your wish. My Tianhai Empire values talents the most. If you can survive the battle with Di Wu-ing, you will have the qualifications to participate in this year's White Tiger meet." The divine envoy of the Tianhai Empire slapped the table and made his decision. It wasn't convenient for him to make a move himself, since Ling Xiao insisted on courting death. He would let Diwooing deal with this brat. Hold on. Venerable Dragon Phoenix suddenly said, I don't think there's any need to rush their battle. Divine Envoy, don't forget that our goal this time is to select young talents to participate in the White Tiger meet. There are still many people who haven't exchanged pointers. Let's not delay the proper business. It was obvious that Venerable Dragon Phoenix was powerful and his status wasn't low. Although Dragon Phoenix Mountain wasn't much, the divine envoy of the Tianhai Empire still gave him face. Moreover, Venerable Dragon Phoenix's words weren't wrong. In addition to the top 10 of the Dragon Phoenix list and the 7 heroes of the Water Sacred Hall, there were still many Grotto Heaven Realm cultivators who hadn't fought. The cultivators from the Water Sacred Hall and Dragon Phoenix Mountain weren't limited to just the 7 heroes of the Water Sacred Hall and the 3 heroes of the Dragon Phoenix Mountain. Chapter 1594. Water Spirit Hall and Dragon Phoenix Mountain each brought dozens of Grotto Heaven Realm cultivators. The Divine Phoenix Continent also had dozens of Grotto Heaven Realm cultivators. The victor would be decided in one battle. Whoever won would have the qualifications to participate in the White Tiger meet. Of course, the prerequisite was that they had to be alive before the White Tiger meet began. Brat, you've really managed to keep your life. Number 1 hero glanced coldly at Ling Xiao, clearly unwilling to accept the outcome. However, he didn't dare disobey esteemed Master Dragon Phoenix's words. Likewise. In fact, the one who was the most upset was Ling Xiao. He had originally planned to fight a bloody battle with this number 1 hero. However, this was also good. Haim, Miankeo, and the others behind him also needed to fight to temper themselves and obtain the qualifications to participate in the White Tiger meet. In any case, he was just waiting for a while. It wasn't as if he wasn't going to fight, so he wasn't in a hurry. Moreover, he had to give face to esteemed Master Dragon Phoenix. He wasn't an arrogant person. Unless someone had wronged him, he wouldn't refuse to give face to others. The sparring began. At the beginning, everything seemed normal. There didn't seem to be any problems. However, when Ling Xiao's people came out to fight, problems arose. Behind Ling Xiao, the first person to fight was Haim, Miankeo. Her opponent was a 9th Grotto Heaven Realm cultivator from Water Spirit Hall. Although this person's cultivation was stronger than Haim Miankeo's, he was unable to cope with Haim Miankeo's swordsmanship and was about to be defeated. At that moment, number 4 hero of Water Spirit Hall flicked a nut from his hand. Ordinary nuts, in the hands of a powerhouse, were lethal weapons. Number 4 hero's cultivation had already reached the half-step Yin-Yang realm. His Yin-Yang Yuan cultivation was almost at the verge of a breakthrough. He was much stronger than Haim Miankeo. Moreover, he had launched a sneak attack. Haim Miankeo was struck by the nut and fell heavily to the ground. Seeing this opportunity, the 9th Grotto Heaven Realm cultivator showed no mercy and slashed at Haim Miankeo's neck. Cold smiles appeared on the faces of the Water Spirit Temple cultivators. They all thought to themselves, that's what we should do. Since we can't deal with Ling Xiao, we should kill Ling Xiao's people so that Ling Xiao will be in so much pain that he'll wish he was dead. However, at this moment, Ling Xiao suddenly stood up from his seat. Before anyone could figure out what he was going to do, Ling Xiao suddenly stood up. He reached the center of the field and grabbed the neck of the 9th Grotto Heaven Realm martial artist of Water Spirit Temple. Crack! A crisp sound reverberated throughout the entire venue. That person's neck had actually been broken by Ling Xiao. How dare you, Ling Xiao? What are you trying to do by interrupting the competition? The divine envoy of the Sky Sea Empire bellowed. That's right. Could it be that you want to ruin the White Tiger meat selection? The Water Spirit Temple cultivators also began to jeer. Ling Xiao said nothing. Instead, he bent down to help Haim Miankeo up and plucked a nut from her wound. After confirming that Haim Miankeo was fine, he turned to the divine envoy of the Sky Sea Empire and indifferently said, "Divine envoy, are you blind? How could you not see such an obvious sneak attack?" Impudent! The red-robed divine envoy of the Sky Sea Empire trembled in rage. Impudent? I think it's you who's impudent. The Sky Sea Empire clearly held this election to select true geniuses. But you turned a blind eye to this sneak attack and flipped out at me? Could it be that you dare to disobey the imperial decree of the Sky Sea Empire's emperor? Ling Xiao glanced at the two divine envoys in disdain. He was sure that this was not the emperor's idea, nor was it the will of the upper echelons. These 3 divine envoys had probably received benefits from the Water Spirit Temple. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been so biased. Even if Ling Xiao had killed their informant, they still wouldn't have acted this way. If this matter were to spread out, the remaining 2 divine envoys would definitely not be able to escape this calamity. It was clear that Ling Xiao had hit them where it hurt. At this point, the 2 divine envoys fell silent. Only their eyes shone with icy killing intent. They really wanted nothing more than for Ling Xiao to fight dying right now and die here. This brat was really too annoying. Seeing that the 2 divine envoys had fallen silent, Ling Xiao turned to dying. Do you know what kind of person I hate the most? It's a shameless piece of trash like you, who likes to sneak attack. Even if I, Ling Xiao, didn't even enter the top 10 of the Dragon Phoenix role, I wouldn't be so shameless as to do such a thing. If you're a man, then step forward and fight to the death to determine the victor. Whoever admits defeat is a coward. Let me see the courage of your Water Spirit Temple cultivators. He was truly angry. Originally, everyone was bickering and not to the point of fighting and killing. But Dying's action clearly wanted Haim Miankeo to die. Even though Ling Xiao had no romantic feelings for Haim Miankeo, they had a deep friendship. The 2 of them had braved through fire and water together many times. Now that someone had sneak attacked Haim Miankeo, if he didn't step forward, then he really couldn't even be considered a man. He values friendship and loyalty. Becoming friends with this person is absolutely not a loss. Esteemed Lord Long Huang looked at Ling Xiao and could not help secretly nodding. Although Ling Xiao's approach was somewhat radical, as a martial artist, if faced with a situation where his friend was sneak attacked and nearly died, he still could not fly into a rage. Then this martial artist was basically crippled. Without the slightest domineering aura of the martial Dao, how could he talk about cutting through thistles and thorns? The path of the martial Dao was full of dangers to begin with. It required great courage to be able to continue walking. In esteemed Lord Long Huang's view, Ling Xiao was simply a natural-born martial artist. It was not without reason that this kid could become the heavenly emperor of the Celestial Empire and had such a group of people supporting him. Dying looked at Ling Xiao awkwardly. His cultivation was not weak, but facing Ling Xiao, he still did not have the confidence to win. Indeed, he was much stronger than the 5th, 6th, and 7th heroes. If it was just a spar, he was naturally not afraid of Ling Xiao. But in a life-and-death battle, he was somewhat timid. Should he accept the challenge? Dying frowned. Humph, just now someone kept saying that his people were not trash. But in my opinion, other than sneak attacks, you really don't have any ability to speak of. Ling Xiao coldly snorted and said, sarcastically, he had to kill Ling, see no matter what, because this guy had touched his reverse scale. Even if he did not kill him today, he would kill him in the future. Bullshit, do you really think you're something? I'll fight you. Dying also cared about his face. Moreover, no matter how he thought about it, it was impossible for Ling Xiao to break through to the Yin-Yang realm. Since that was the case, as a half-step Yin-Yang realm martial artist, why should he fear Ling Xiao? After being scolded like a coward, he did not even dare to attack? If that was the case, not only would the people of the Tianhai Empire look down on him, but his peers would also look down on him when he returned. Oh, you have guts. It seems that the 7 heroes of the Water Spirit Temple are not all cowards. A cold smile appeared on Ling Xiao's face. It seemed that sometimes provocation was useful. Although it was a little cliché, it was very effective against these arrogant martial artists. Chapter 1595. Dai Ying jumped into the field and looked at Ling Xiao with cold eyes. He activated his bloodline incarnation at the first moment. Half crocodile? So that's how it is. I've long heard that the Tianhai Empire is dominated by crocodiles, and they all have the bloodline of the ancient giant crocodile. It seems that it's true. Ling Xiao froze for a moment and found that Dai Ying had a long tail behind him. Even his head had turned into the appearance of a crocodile. His sharp teeth gleamed coldly under the sun. 90% of this person's body structure was close to that of a crocodile, and only 30% still maintained the appearance of a human. For example, his hands were very similar to a human's, but much larger. He held a huge iron shovel in his hand, majestic. There are 4 empires in the White Tiger continent, namely the White Tiger Empire, dominated by the Tiger Clan, the Tianhai Empire, dominated by the Crocodile Clan, the Yueling Empire, dominated by the Wolf Clan, and the Silver Fox Empire, dominated by the Fox Clan. The warriors of the 4 races all have the bloodline of ancient giant beasts. They are incomparably powerful, much stronger than weak humans like you. As Dai Ying spoke, he was constantly accumulating power. On the iron shovel in his hand, the aqua blue light was accelerating the condensation. Ling Xiao just looked at him indifferently. He had no intention of making a move at all. He didn't even draw his sword. Why do you regret it now? If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the beginning? This life and death duel was your request. Today, you will die without a complete corpse. Seeing that Ling Xiao didn't move and was even a little surprised, Dai Ying became more confident. It seemed that he felt that Ling Xiao was afraid of him, so he became more confident. The previous worry and fear suddenly disappeared. Dai Ying didn't hesitate. The rapidly expanding confidence made him feel that he could easily defeat Ling Xiao. I will avenge the 7th and 6th heroes. Don't worry, Ling Xiao, after you die, we will definitely uproot your Tianhai Empire. In the roar, Dai Ying rushed into the sky. Although his body looked cumbersome, his explosive power was very terrifying. He was really like a huge crocodile rising into the sky, opening its bloody mouth, trying to swallow everything. The water blue light finally condensed on the shovel in his hand, and then he smashed it fiercely at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao raised his head to take a look, and a trace of contempt appeared on his face. The pitiful hero C was indeed powerful. If it were any other Grotto Heaven realm martial artist, it would be almost impossible for them to defeat him. However, Ling Xiao was a Yin-Yang realm martial artist. Moreover, he was a Yin-Yang realm martial artist who had stepped into the tongue-ripping hell. When he saw Dai Ying pouncing over, he felt like a rabbit pouncing on a tiger. He wanted to laugh. Sword! Ling Xiao finally raised his hand, and Ice's fury instantly appeared in his hand. He didn't use any moves. He just pointed his sword at Dixie Ying. At that moment, Feng Hua made all the other colors pale in comparison. It was too fast. It was too stunning. That sword strike was swift to the extreme and ruthless to the extreme. Everyone only saw Ling Xiao and Dai Ying passing by each other. Then, a drop of blood scattered in the air like a broken peach blossom. Bang! Ling Xiao withdrew his sword, and Dai Ying fell heavily to the ground, no longer breathing. And on his neck, an inconspicuous sword mark could be clearly seen. Although this mark was really insignificant, it was enough to be fatal. I said before, the 7 heroes of Water God Hall are all trash. Even if you have the guts to fight, only death awaits you. You'd better not participate in today's selection. Scram back. After killing Dai Ying, Ling Xiao looked contemptuously at all the martial artists of Water God Hall and said coldly, "The Divine Phoenix content today is no longer the same as before. You still dare to behave atrociously here. even if the Divine Phoenix Empire is still a coward and doesn't dare to do anything to you. But that doesn't mean that the people of this continent are cowards. Meeting me, Ling Xiao, can only be considered your bad luck. Scram, don't let me see you again, or I'll kill every one of you. He and Water God Hall had a death feud to begin with, and today they were even opposing each other, so there was no need to give them any face. You're too presumptuous, Dying roared. Dying is already dead. Do you think you're stronger than him? If you have the ability to roar, why don't you come up and try? Otherwise, hold it in. Ling Xiao glanced coldly at Dying, not even interested in making a move. In front of him, Dying was really too weak. He wasn't even worth mentioning. Then what about me? Dying stood up, and a sinister killing intent seemed to burn along with his body. He was a Yin-Yang realm expert. Although he was only at the first level of the Yin-Yang realm, he had stepped into the tongue-pulling hell. In terms of cultivation, he wasn't inferior to Ling Xiao at all. If you dare to fight, then come out and fight. Otherwise, scram. Ling Xiao still said the same thing, cold and heartless, not giving the other party any face at all. His words made the faces of all the martial artists of Water God Hall as black as the bottom of a pot. Ling Xiao was clearly planning to slap their faces one by one. Destroy Dying's prestige. Kill Dying. Then face Dying. If Dying didn't want to fight, then he would undoubtedly be called a coward and a piece of trash. However, if he were to fight and lose, then such a reputation would also fall upon them. Just like the dead Dying, it looked heroic, but it was meaningless. Fight or not, Ling Xiao's voice sounded again, cold and heartless to the extreme. Dying originally wanted to save face for Dying, but now he pushed himself into the teeth of the storm. As a Yin-Yang realm expert, if he was afraid of Ling Xiao, it was simply embarrassing. Third brother, he's mine. Dying's cold voice came from Dying, and at the same time he saved Dying's face. Dying's embarrassment was instantly resolved. He sat back and glanced at Ling Xiao, saying, "You're bosses. If I kill you, I'm afraid boss will be angry. If you don't dare to fight, then so be it. I didn't expect the Water God Temple's trash to find such a dignified reason. It looks like they've done their homework. Who knows how many times they've practiced for such a situation." Ling Xiao looked at Dying mockingly. He had already decided to destroy the Water God Temple. Since that was the case, how could he let Dying go just because of Dying's words? If Dying had to die, Dying must die too. Ling Xiao, you've gone too far. Tianhai Pearl suddenly gritted her teeth. Haha, if you didn't speak, I would have forgotten. Back in the City of Sin, you stole the Human King's Imperial Jade Seal from me. Your cultivation must have increased greatly. Are you interested? Let's fight and see if you've improved more, or if I've improved more. Ling Xiao chuckled and looked at Tianhai Pearl. Tianhai Pearl had tried to kill him back in the City of Sin. Although she was used by him in the end, she became his scapegoat and blocked the pursuit of countless experts for him. But even though she took the blame, the hatred still hadn't been resolved. Since they met today, this hatred had to be resolved. Chapter 1596. The Pearl of the Heavenly Seas stood up. Let's settle our past grudges with today's battle. Although she was as uncertain as the third hero, her cultivation level was much higher than the third hero's. Back in the City of Sin, the powerhouse from the Water God Hall who had protected her had been severely injured and had decided to impart all of his power to her. In the past half a year, she had completely digested this power, and her cultivation level had increased by leaps and bounds. She did not believe that she would lose to Ling Xiao with someone imparting his power to her. At that time, her cultivation level was higher than Ling Xiao's. Today, she still believed so. The second level of the Yin-Yang realm was extremely rare among young people under the age of 30. Not many could reach that level. Especially on the Divine Phoenix continent, it was even rarer. Haha, I didn't think that 6 of the 7 heroes of the Water God Hall would lose to a woman. Ling Xiao smiled, then turned his gaze from the third hero to the pearl of the heavenly seas. Since you're willing to fight me, I won't take that trash's life. Young master, you can't take the risk. Let me do it. The first hero frowned and said, He'll definitely die by my hands. Why do you have to take the risk? You mean I'm not as good as him? The pearl of the heavenly seas glanced at the first hero and asked calmly. This. The first hero fell silent. Thinking about it carefully, Ling Xiao's cultivation level was only at the peak of the 10th Grotto Heaven realm half a month ago. Even if he was talented, he was not a descendant of the dragon clan like Longchen. How could his cultivation level have increased so much in half a month? The first hero did not think it was possible. Seeing how Ling Xiao had killed the fourth hero, his cultivation level was probably similar to the fourth hero's. It was just that this guy's mastery of martial arts was too outstanding. That sword move was like a textbook classic. Time, space, angle, and strength were all perfect. The first hero could not have done it either. However, if he wanted to cross the chasm in cultivation with just that, it was clearly not enough. The first hero sighed and said, Young master, please be careful. He had already made his decision. If the heavenly sea pearl was in danger, he would definitely step in. Even if it was 2 against 1, he did not mind. If it was embarrassing, then so be it. Who told the heavenly sea pearl to be the daughter of the water god temple's god empress? If something happened to the heavenly sea pearl, they wouldn't have a good ending when they returned. Don't worry. He can't kill me. Tian Hai Pearl dared to fight because she was confident in herself. It was not only because her cultivation was outstanding, but also because she had another trump card. The Tian Hai Pearl's body slowly floated up and then landed on the field. In that instant, a terrifying aura erupted. Second level of Yin Yang realm. Sensing this terrifying aura, the martial artists of the Divine Phoenix continent were all astonished. This young girl was actually so powerful. Those who originally thought that Ling Xiao could win for sure also began to worry. After all, a person's confidence was built on their strength. How could Ling Xiao win against a martial artist at the second level of the Yin Yang realm? Gao Yang Wuqing and Zhong Yu Huang Quan both revealed expressions of schadenfreude. One of them was a young expert from the Blackwater Immortal Island, while the other was a young expert from the Permitha Immortal Island. However, both of them had a grudge against Ling Xiao. One was ranked 3rd on the Dragon Phoenix list, while the other was ranked 4th. They couldn't wait for Ling Xiao to die. Not bad. You're worth a fight. Ling Xiao said with a smile. What? Hearing this, everyone was so shocked that their eyeballs almost fell out. This heavenly sea pearl was a 2nd level Yin Yang realm expert. He actually said that her strength was not bad. Wasn't this a little too arrogant? Or was it because he had fought too many battles that his brain was damaged? Stop bluffing. Those who don't know would think that your cultivation is stronger than the number 1 hero. The martial artists of the Water God Temple shouted. They were clearly mocking Ling Xiao for being pretentious. But in fact, they were so scared that their bodies turned to jelly. Ling Xiao didn't even look at these people. He only stared at the heavenly sea pearl indifferently. He really wasn't afraid of the heavenly sea pearl's cultivation. With his ability, it wasn't a problem for him to challenge 2 levels higher. Moreover, the heavenly sea pearl was only 1 level higher than him. What he was worried about now was that the heavenly sea pearl might have other trump cards. However, this was also good. In a battle of life and death, one had to adapt to different situations. It wasn't a bad thing for his opponent to have a trump card. On the contrary, it could allow him to train more. With a smile, his clothes suddenly fluttered even though there was no wind. His long black hair fluttered in the silent space. Waves of energy were released from his body. His aura quickly became stronger. His cultivation rose to the 1st level of Yin Yang realm. This was impossible. Once again, except for the few people who came with Ling Xiao, the rest of the martial artists all stood up. They looked at Ling Xiao in disbelief. He actually broke through to the Yinyang realm. How did this guy cultivate? No wonder he's so arrogant. This explains why he killed the fourth hero so easily. Zhong Yu Huangquan and Gao Yanggu almost collapsed in their seats. Ji Huangtian's expression didn't look good either. Damn this guy. How did he cultivate? He actually became so powerful after not seeing him for half a month. I thought I could easily defeat him. Zhong Yu Huangquan was the most upset. He was ranked fourth on the Dragon Phoenix list, and his cultivation was at the first level of Yin-Yang realm before. Now that half a month had passed, his cultivation didn't improve. However, Ling Xiao had secretly caught up to him. Zhong Yu Huangquan looked at Ling Xiao with an extremely vicious gaze. He was thinking about what method he could use to kill this guy. On the other side, the Heavenly Sea Pearl was only surprised for a moment, but she quickly calmed down. Although Ling Xiao's strength was unexpectedly strong, Ling Xiao's strength was extremely strong. However, she was still confident that she could win. No wonder you're so arrogant. You actually broke through to the Yinyang realm. However, I'll tell you in this battle that you're still a laughable frog at the bottom of a well. Your cultivation has reached this realm, but your state of mind hasn't. You're still far from it in all aspects. The Heavenly Sea Pearl looked at Ling Xiao indifferently. Then she waved her hand, and 7 huge pearls appeared behind her. The 7 pearls surrounded her body, emitting a soft blue light. However, no one dared to underestimate the terrifying explosive power contained in the 7 pearls. However, Ling Xiao didn't say anything. He just sneered disdainfully. Ice's fury appeared in his hand. Then his body suddenly flashed. In the air, he merged Ice's fury and the dark demon soared into one. Body of light, swift light, godly travel. His body flashed across the space like a flash of light. Ling Xiao's speed was so fast that no one could see him with the naked eye. There was no terrifying aura. There was no instant explosion. There was only silent killing intent. Chapter 1597. In the blink of an eye, Ling Xiao's sword was right in front of Tianhai Pearl. The cold slaughter sword was infused into the sword before it exploded. It was filled with extremely sharp sword qi. His speed has actually increased again. Tianhai Pearl was startled. She knew that Ling Xiao was fast, but after seeing it today, she realized that Ling Xiao's speed was more than 10 times faster than before. This kind of speed was something that even martial artists who were a few levels higher than Ling Xiao would find difficult to compare with. No wonder this kid was so arrogant. After all, speed meant survival. This thought only flashed through Tianhai Pearl's mind for a moment. Now, she had to face Ling Xiao's terrifying sword. This sword strike was simple and unadorned. It didn't even use any technique. It was just a simple stab. However, the powerful killing sword intent on the sword made Tianhai Pearl understand that if the sword pierced her, she would be defeated instantly. Water God 7 Pearls, Water Curtain Pearl. With a shout, one of the 7 pearls surrounding Tianhai Pearl suddenly emitted a powerful water-type inner force, forming a thick water curtain in front of her. Qi. The dark, demonic sword pierced the water curtain and made a strange sound. Tianhai Pearl was slightly relieved. She was about to reorganize the situation and fight again. However, in the next moment, the water curtain turned black and began to rot rapidly. The shadow of a heavenly demon appeared behind Ling Xiao. The terrifying dark force and death force were released from the heavenly demon. This guy, he's so evil. Tianhai Pearl frowned. She did not have time to think too much and quickly retreated. However, at that moment, the water curtain had already shattered. Even the pearl turned black and fell to the ground. Although it did not shatter, it was probably unusable. Ling Xiao continued to follow the Heavenly Sea Pearl like a shadow. His sword was always less than a foot away from the Heavenly Sea Pearl. This Ling Xiao is really scary. He seems to have realized that Tianhai Pearl specializes in mid-range and long-range attacks. So he immediately closed in on her and didn't give her any space to use her skills. If this continues, the Heavenly Sea Pearl will fail miserably. Master Long Huang was indeed an expert. His eyesight was very sharp. He instantly determined Ling Zhao's thoughts. It's just a coincidence. Amami was somewhat unconvinced. Coincidence? Hee, as long as you're happy. Venerable Dragon Phoenix did not refute Tianhai Mo's words, because summer insects could not talk about ice. If you told an insect that there was ice in this world, how could it understand? Ha ha ha, Miss Amami, your pearl isn't bad. It looks dazzling and pretty. It might be fine to play around with as a collectible, but to use it in battle would be hilarious. Ling Zhao laughed heartily as he sent the dark demon sword forward once more. The terrifying sword Qi directly tore apart Tianhai Pearl's clothes, causing the Water Spirit Temple's martial artists to almost scream. Tianhai Pearl's expression was extremely ugly. The water god's 7 pearls that she was so proud of was actually being treated as a toy by this guy? Ling Zhao, don't be so smug. I will let you experience the terror of the water god's 7 pearls. Tianhai Pearl angrily shouted, and the entire area was instantly filled with water vapor. Her figure also instantly disappeared. Water god 7 pearls. Deep sea killing intent. A cold voice came from the Heavenly Sea Pearl's mouth. Then, Ling Zhao suddenly felt a murderous aura coming from all directions and surrounding him. This water god's 7 pearls really do have some skill. But you want to use this to injure me? What a joke. Dark Demon Sword, Body Annihilation. Ling Zhao did not move. He just stood there, the black, great sword in his hand swinging in a circle around his body. Then, a terrifying power of darkness rapidly spread. The originally dark blue mist quickly turned as black as ink. The entire area seemed to be filled with a terrifying aura of death. It was as if doomsday had arrived. Tianhai Pearl's attack focuses more on technique. The water god's 7 pearls are well matched. Some focus on defense and some focus on attack. It seems very beautiful and meticulous. This combination is enviable. However, although Ling Zhao's attack is simple, every strike is always just right. Every strike of his doesn't waste the slightest bit of strength. How much to use seems to be calculated in advance. How did this brat cultivate? How can he do this? The more esteemed Dragon Phoenix watched, the more shocked he became. Tianhai Pearl's performance was praiseworthy. However, Ling Zhao's performance could be said to be unfathomable. Ordinary martial artists found it very difficult to fully display their strength because they did not have enough technique. They would constantly waste energy in battle. Powerful martial artists could reduce this waste as much as possible, allowing the power of their moves to be fully displayed. However, at most, they could increase the efficiency of this kind of conversion to 70 to 80%. However, this Ling Zhao in front of him, his efficiency was completely 100%. There was not a single bit of waste. Just based on this point, it was natural for this guy to move unhindered in the divine Phoenix continent. No one could compare to him. Boom! The terrifying power of darkness exploded in the water vapor. It could be seen that dozens of strange, shark-like water currents had all exploded. This was the source of the killing intent. It was Tianhai Pearl's killing move. However, in front of Ling Zhao, such a powerful killing move was broken with a single strike. Another pearl of the Heavenly Sea Pearl was smashed into pieces, and the mist quickly dissipated. Her figure appeared again. Water God's 7 pearls, Flood Water Pearl. Tianhai Pearl's expression did not change. She immediately released the 3rd pearl. All of a sudden, a terrifying wave surged from behind her. The turbid wave pounced toward Ling Zhao like a ferocious beast. It actually carried a shocking roar, as if it was a living monster. Dark, demonic sword, heart destruction. The sword in Ling Xiao's hand became even more powerful. Facing the attack of the torrential flood, he did not retreat. His long black hair danced in the air. He held the sword with both hands and directly slashed out. Boom! The terrifying sword qi slammed into the flood, and another bead was sent flying, landing hundreds of meters away. In this battle, Ling Xiao once again gained the upper hand. In terms of the ingenuity of the attack, Tianhai Pearl was indeed good. However, in terms of the power of the attack, stability, accuracy, and ruthlessness, no one in this world could compare with Ling Xiao. Even a senior like Long Huang Shangren could not be stronger than him. With the help of the Tai Chi Eye, all of Ling Xiao's moves were basically precisely calculated and completely achieved 100% efficiency. Show me what else you have. Otherwise, you'll really lose your life. Ling Xiao looked at Tianhai Pearl and approached her again. Since it was a battle of life and death, there was no room for hesitation. Chapter 1598. Facing Tianhai Pearl. Ling Xiao did not dare to be careless. If he was careless, he might lose his life. Although he had the upper hand now, it was because he had been suppressing Tianhai Pearl from the very beginning. If he were to let his guard down, the advantage would instantly belong to his opponent. Therefore, the continuous attacks exhausted the Heavenly Sea Pearl, and the Heavenly Sea Pearl, with a thunderous momentum, was completely defeated. This was Ling Xiao's battle strategy from the very beginning. Water God's 7 pearls, for dragons emerging from the sea. Tianhai Pearl naturally saw through Ling Xiao's plan. Therefore, she had to think of a way to turn the situation around. Her strategy was to use her strongest attack to force Ling Xiao back and then find her own rhythm. With this attack, Tianhai Pearl used the remaining 4 pearls at the same time. The 4 blue dragons were completely condensed from water vapor and contained terrifying water-type inner energy. They roared in the air as if they were going to devour and destroy everything. Dark demonic sword, soul destroyer. Ling Xiao slashed with the dark demonic sword again. Its power increased again, and a terrifying aura of destruction filled the entire killing dragon forest. The black heavenly demon behind him had already released 20% of its battle intent. It gathered on the dark demonic sword and exploded with a shocking murderous aura. Tianhai Pearl had no way out. At this moment, she could only use the 4 pearls to attack at the same time and use her strongest move to defeat Ling Xiao. Other than that, she had no other choice. The 4 water dragons pounced on Ling Xiao, but were blocked by the black sword aura. They were in a stalemate in the air. Ling Xiao sneered. The heavenly demon behind him released its aura, and his battle intent increased by another 10%. At the same time, the dark demonic sword in his hand exploded with an even more terrifying aura. God Destroyer! He changed his move, and its power increased tremendously. The 4 water dragons that were in a stalemate were obviously weakened and suppressed. Oh no, the young master is in trouble. Dai Ying hurriedly stood up and wanted to help. He did not dare to face Ling Xiao alone. However, if he joined forces with Tianhai Pearl to fight Ling Xiao, he was not afraid at all. However, Lung Mei, who was opposite him, stared at his every move. As long as he dared to make a move, Cold Plum would definitely not sit idly by. Third brother, don't be anxious. The young master still has a trump card. The first hero stopped the third hero and calmly said, although the Tianhai Pearl was indeed at a disadvantage in the current situation. However, as long as he used that trump card, he would definitely be able to make a comeback. While they were talking, the 4 water dragons of the Heavenly Sea Pearl suddenly turned blood red. Then his strength began to rise rapidly. Upon closer inspection, a blood-red lake appeared behind the Sky Sea Pearl. Although it was not large, it gave off a terrifying smell of blood. Is this your trump card? It is indeed powerful, but it is still too disappointing. Ling Xiao obviously felt the pressure, but his face showed an excited smile. He simply put away the dark, demonic sword and retreated. As he retreated, the 4 blood dragons chased after him. Ling Xiao's body gradually merged into the heavenly demon's shadow. 11th shadow profound, heavenly demon incarnation. 50% of the heavenly demon fighting intent. A tyrannical aura began to wreak havoc around Ling Xiao like a storm. The broken branches and rotten leaves on the ground were swept up into the sky. Smoke and dust covered the sky, severely obstructing the vision of many people. As Ling Xiao's body completely disappeared, the terrifying black heavenly demon appeared in the void. The storm of destruction continued to roar. Wherever the black heavenly demon passed, it was as if doomsday had arrived. All life was obliterated by this dark power. Extinction. Disappear. In that instant, the 4 blood dragons let out mournful screams. Then they shattered one by one. The blood-red liquid merged into the storm of destruction and became a part of the black heavenly demon. Looking at that sinister face, the Sky Sea Pearl's face was filled with horror. What kind of move was this? How could it be so terrifying? Her trump card, the blood dragon lake which she was so proud of, was defeated so easily. Ling Xiao had once used the immemorial golden crow against the alliance master of the 5 Immortals Island, but he did not activate his incarnation, because at that time he had not completely controlled this energy. Now, facing the Sky Sea Pearl's terrifying blood dragon lake, he tried again. This terrifying heavenly demon incarnation even gave him a fright. Just 50% of his strength was already so terrifying. Against the Sky Sea Pearl, it was an absolute crushing situation. Not good. I can't block it. The Sky Sea Pearl looked at the storm of destruction in front of her in horror, as well as the terrifying, expressionless heavenly demon in the storm. Heavenly demons generally did not have a physical body. They were just huge bodies made of black energy. Only their facial expressions were vivid. However, this vivid and lifelike image had now turned into a terrifying storm that made people tremble. The Sky Sea Pearl wanted to retreat, but this storm was too fast. She rationally realized that if she turned around, she would lose all chance of resisting. At this moment, the only way to save her life was to face it head-on. Burn! Power of the Water God! The Sky Sea Pearl used a secret technique of the Water God Temple. She prayed for the blessing of the Water God and burned the energy in her body. Then, for more blood dragons condensed in the blood dragon lake. They were clearly one size larger than before. The 4 blood dragons fused together and quickly became an even larger blood dragon. It raised its head and roared. If this blood dragon was defeated, the Sky Sea Pearl would be doomed. Cold sweat poured down her forehead. She continuously released energy and poured it into the huge blood dragon to resist it. Can you block it? The heavenly demon's lips curled into a cold smile. There was a hint of coldness in his lava-like eyes. The black energy turned into a huge palm and slapped toward the blood dragon. Don't you dare hurt my young master. At this moment, the 3rd hero and 5th hero attacked at the same time, trying to save the Sky Sea Pearl from Ling Xiao's demonic claws. The 1st hero also wanted to attack, but he was stopped by Cold Plum. It did not matter if the 3rd hero and 5th hero helped because Ling Xiao was not afraid. However, if the 1st hero interfered, it would be a little difficult. After all, the 1st hero was a 3rd level Yin-Yang Realm expert. If a martial artist of this level launched a sneak attack, Ling Xiao would definitely suffer. 3 pieces of trash. Together, you're still trash. Go to hell. A cold voice came from the heavenly demon's mouth. Then, the blood dragon quickly collapsed. The huge black palm slapped toward the 3 Water God Temple elites. A terrifying black storm swept up along with the palm. There was despair in the 3's eyes. In the face of the huge black palm, they were unable to resist at all. There was only despair. Young master! The Dragon Prince and Tianhai Mo rushed out at the same time, trying to save the young master. However, Zhu Xiaocong Mou Longchen and the others also rushed out. They only blocked the Dragon Prince and Tianhai Mo for a moment. However, this short period of time was enough. Chapter 1599. Azuru Amami, the third hero, and the fifth hero could only watch as their arms slowly disappeared. Then, their heads started to shatter in the black storm. Before they died, only fear and regret were left on their faces. Boom! There was a huge explosion. The three figures could no longer be seen on the ground. They were all torn apart by the black storm and turned into fragments. They could no longer be found. Everyone looked at this scene in horror. The terrifying heavenly demon incarnation was still floating in midair and did not stop attacking. Its huge palm slapped toward Dragon Prince and Tianhai Mo at the same time. The two of them resisted forcefully, but they were still pushed back by this terrifying power. Kill! A cold voice came from the heavenly demon incarnation's mouth. The black storm continued to wreak havoc. Ling Xiao had tried to kill Tianhai Mo and the Dragon Crown Prince, but he actually wanted to kill these two as well. These two people actually shamelessly ambushed him and injured Mou, Zhu Xiaocong, Longchen, and the others. This was something Ling Xiao absolutely could not tolerate. Moreover, Ling Xiao had entered the heavenly demon incarnation state. His personality was affected to a certain extent and became even more violent. Although he did not lose his rationality, he would definitely not give up against such shameless people. Dragon Prince and Tianhai Mo were in a very sorry state. These two people's cultivations were not weak, but because they fought hastily and did not understand Ling Xiao's moves, they were actually beaten back repeatedly. Dragon Prince was better off, but Tianhai Mo's clothes were in tatters. Countless bloodstains appeared on his body. The people of Divine Phoenix Continent had not finished digesting Ling Xiao's feat of killing the second hero, third hero, and fifth hero. When they saw this scene, they were so shocked that they did not know what to say. This Ling Xiao was too terrifying. Dragon Prince should be at least at the fourth level of the Yin-Yang realm. Tianhai Mo was at the third level of the Yin-Yang realm. Although it was because he had underestimated his opponent, the fact that he was being chased by this Ling Xiao was a little too exaggerated. It was hard for him to accept. The more the Dragon Prince thought about it, the angrier he became. He decided not to run. He had originally planned to save his strength to deal with Feng Yinshan and Ji Huangtian, but now he had to go all out to kill Ling Xiao. Otherwise, if word of this got out, he, the Dragon Crown Prince, might as well quit his job. A terrifying aura came from behind the Dragon Crown Prince. The shadow of a flood dragon appeared behind him. No wonder he was called the Dragon Prince. His martial spirit was a flood dragon martial spirit. Although the flood dragon was not an orthodox member of the Dragon Clan, it still had the blood of the Dragon Clan. Therefore, such a martial soul was still very powerful. The two of you should stop. Lord Long Huang suddenly appeared between the two of them and blocked their attacks. He didn't move at all. A powerhouse was a powerhouse. This old fellow's strength was indeed not to be underestimated. Both of you are the top geniuses of the Tianhai Empire. No matter who dies, it's not worth it for the Tianhai Empire. I think stopping here is the best outcome. Lord Long Huang's tone was indifferent, but it was filled with an unquestionable, domineering aura. Yes, it's time to stop. It wouldn't be good if we didn't completely destroy the harmony. Feng Yinshan also stepped forward to mediate. The two sacred envoys of the Tianhai Empire also stepped forward. At this point in the battle, although they really wanted Ling Xiao to die, whether the Dragon Crown Prince could kill Ling Xiao was still a problem. If even the Dragon Crown Prince was killed, then they really wouldn't be able to explain it. If they wanted to kill Ling Xiao, they could do it behind his back. There was no need to do it in front of so many people. Therefore, it was necessary to stop the battle. The Dragon Crown Prince didn't want to fight to the death, but he was being chased like a mouse by Ling Xiao. He was so angry that he wanted to fight. He wanted to stop the battle the most now. When Ling Xiao saw so many people stop him, his anger gradually subsided. He coldly glanced at the Dragon Crown Prince and Tianhai Mo. These two had to die, but in his current state, he really couldn't deal with them. It was better to strike from the shadows. That way, he could erupt with even more power and kill them without anyone noticing. With this thought, he withdrew from the heavenly demon transformation and returned to his original appearance. Besides panting a little, he didn't seem very tired. Humph! The 7 heroes of Water God Temple. You really do live up to your reputation. You can't beat me, but your sneak attacks are stronger than the last. Ling Xiao didn't plan to fight, but he wasn't willing to let them go with his words. These words were full of sarcasm, causing the faces of the Water Spirit Temple's cultivators to turn ugly, but they couldn't say anything. This was because Ling Xiao had killed almost all of the 7 heroes of Water God Temple in front of them. Only the first hero had survived. They casually said that Ling Xiao was courting death, that Ling Xiao wasn't worthy of sitting on Phoenix Cry's Divergent Mountain. They humiliated and slandered Ling Xiao in every possible way. But in front of Ling Xiao, they kept retreating, completely confirming Ling Xiao's words of trash. If the Tianhai Pearl could kill Ling Xiao with the help of the 3rd and 5th heroes, even if it was a little shameless, it wouldn't have mattered. That way, they could still hold their heads high and trample Ling Xiao under their feet. But the problem was that even after using shameless sneak attacks, not only did they fail to kill Ling Xiao, they were all slaughtered by Ling Xiao. Not even their bones were left. Of the 7 heroes of Water God Temple, only the first hero was left. This was really humiliating to the extreme. Thinking back to a few days ago, when they hadn't met Ling Xiao, they acted recklessly in the Divine Phoenix Empire. They were awe-inspiring, bullying the weak. How awe-inspiring, how insufferably arrogant. They didn't even put the Divine Phoenix Empire's imperial family in their eyes, and even insulted and ridiculed the Heavenly Empire. They even threatened to destroy the Heavenly Empire. But now that they met Ling Xiao, all their delusions and arrogance turned into humiliation and tragedy. Not only did their reputation hit rock bottom, they also lost 6 lives. For Water God Temple, the loss was really too great. Everyone's face was gloomy. They were angry, but didn't dare to say anything. Let's go. The Dragon Crown Prince glanced at Ling Xiao. Staying with this person made him feel uncomfortable all over. Even if he stayed for a second longer, he felt that he would completely collapse. It was too embarrassing. For a person who cared about face, the series of things that happened here today were ruthlessly slaps on his face, making him unable to show his face. Tianhai Mo also glanced at Ling Xiao and said coldly, "Brat, you are indeed very strong. It can even be said that you are the role model of the younger generation in the Divine Phoenix continent. But it's best if you don't go to the White Tiger continent. Otherwise, not even your bones will be left. Who doesn't know how to threaten? You Water God Temple's martial artists only have this bit of virtue." Ling Xiao looked at Tianhai Mo contemptuously and said, "Listen, I will definitely go to the White Tiger continent. But I advise you not to have any crooked thoughts. Otherwise, the destruction of Water God Temple will be unavoidable." Arrogant. Too arrogant. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao. They had never heard of a martial artist from the Divine Phoenix continent who dared to threaten Water God Temple. This Ling Xiao was really unique. Chapter 1600. Ling Xiao actually said that if the Water Spirit Temple dared to provoke him again, he would destroy them. His words made everyone think that he was too arrogant. He was too powerful. However, there was always a reason for this person's arrogance. The words he had said before seemed to have become reality one by one. They didn't know if the Water Spirit Temple's life was tough or if Ling Xiao's was tough. Perhaps there would be a good show to watch in the future of the White Tiger Continent. Tian Haimo, the Dragon Prince, and the others turned and left. Feng Yinshan arranged for a steamed Dragon Phoenix and the cultivators of the Dragon Phoenix Mountain to rest in the Imperial City. They were preparing to return to the White Tiger Continent tomorrow. As for the two divine envoys of the Tianhai Empire, they hurriedly took their leave, saying that they were in a hurry to report the matter of killing the Dragon Forest to their superiors. However, only they knew what they were planning. Brother Mou, Brother Shoutsung, if you don't mind, why don't you return to the overgrown forest city with us? It's too dangerous for you to stay here. Mou and Zhu Shoutsung's injuries weren't serious. After all, they were only pushed back by Tian Haimo and the Dragon Prince. After Ling Xiao gave them healing medicine, they were more or less healed. No, we're in a hurry to go back. The Everlasting Joy Immortal Island and the Canopy Immortal Island are in danger. If it weren't for the White Tiger meat selection, we wouldn't be here. The two rejected Ling Xiao's kindness. Actually, the two of you don't know. I've already sent people to the Canopy Immortal Island and the Everlasting Joy Immortal Island. I guarantee that the two Immortal Islands will be fine. Ling Xiao smiled. After all, I sent Sister Moon Maiden and Senior Jiu Mo Sword. Really? Mou and Zhu Shoutsung were overjoyed. So, the two of you will return to the overgrown forest city with me first. After the matters here are over, I'll go with you to the two Immortal Islands to check out the situation. Ling Xiao smiled. Words can't express our gratitude. The two of them looked at each other and saw the shock and excitement in each other's eyes. Ling Xiao was really like the rumors said. A drop of water would be repaid with a spring. Then, everyone left together. Seeing Ling Xiao leave, the two divine emissaries of the Tianhai Empire breathed a sigh of relief. When they saw Ling Xiao's character, they were really afraid that Ling Xiao would kill them to silence them. Lord Envoy, that Ling Xiao killed the people we brought with us. He even killed a deputy envoy. Are we just going to leave like this? The green-clothed vice emissary rejoiced, but at the same time he was somewhat displeased. She felt that she had been insulted by Ling Xiao, but she did not dare to say anything. Don't worry, when have we ever suffered a loss? Since he dared to kill people from the Tianhai Empire, then Ling Xiao will soon become the enemy of all the warriors in the Tianhai Empire. What the memorial says is none of our business. The red-clothed envoy sneered and said, as long as Ling Xiao sets foot on the White Tiger Continent, he will definitely face the threat of death. Let this brat be rampant. We don't need to make a move, and we can make him beg for death. Ha ha ha, Lord Envoy is still the best. Are we going to leave the city now? The vice emissary asked. No hurry. Let's first meet up with the people from the Water Divine Hall. So many people from the Water Divine Hall died this time, and they were all elites. It's impossible for them to not bear a grudge against Ling Xiao. If we join forces with them to kill Ling Xiao, it will be easier, the red-clothed envoy replied. Then, the two of them passed through the dragon-slaying forest and chased after the Water Divine Hall team. After a moment, the two of them suddenly stopped. Do you feel like we're being followed? The red-clothed envoy's face was ashen, and his forehead was already covered in cold sweat. It can't be, Lord Envoy. That Ling Xiao has already returned to the Forest Ocean City with his people. It's impossible for him to come and deal with us. Aren't you overthinking it? The vice emissary's cultivation was inferior to the red-clothed envoy, so he did not feel anything strange. However, the red-clothed envoy's face was still ugly. He keenly felt that they were being watched by something. But when he released his soul force to search, he found nothing. Let's go. Let's not look for the people from the Water Divine Hall. Let's go directly to the Divine Phoenix Empire's Imperial Palace. The red-clothed envoy suddenly changed his mind. Although he did not find any trace of anyone, he still felt that something was following them. In order to ensure their safety, choosing to seek refuge in the imperial palace was clearly the best choice. Yes, the vice emissary in green nodded when he heard this. Then the two of them soared into the sky and increased their speed, like two large birds soaring in the sky. However, no matter how fast they increased their speed, the red-clothed envoy still felt a chill on his back. It was obvious that something was watching them. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. Seeing that they had already left the dragon-slaying forest and were on the streets, the red-clothed envoy gradually calmed down. The person following them should not dare to casually make a move on the streets because there were soldiers patrolling everywhere. "Come over here." The red-clothed envoy ordered the Divine Phoenix Empire's city patrol to his side. The city patrol was very obedient because they recognized the divine envoy of the Tianhai Empire. Back when the divine envoy had humiliated the innocent women in the imperial capital, they did not stop him. Instead, they stood guard for him. Later, when that woman committed suicide, they were also the ones who helped dispose of her corpse. In the eyes of these Divine Phoenix Empire City Patrol, the divine envoy of the Tianhai Empire was an immortal-like existence that they absolutely could not disobey. For these people, they could even abandon their conscience. There were even people who gave their underage daughters to the divine envoy for entertainment. Not only did they not feel ashamed or sad, they even excitedly thought about when they would be promoted and rich. What orders does the divine envoy have? The captain of the city patrol, the one who gave his daughter to the divine envoy, asked respectfully, "Someone is trying to murder this envoy. Find him." The red-clothed envoy ordered. "Understood. Everyone listen up. Start searching every corner and find out who dares to disrespect the divine envoy." The captain of the city patrol was really like a dog. When someone else said something, he immediately picked up a bone and gave an order. He did not feel that there was anything wrong with what he was doing, or that it would affect the normal lives of the commoners. What a good dog! An icy voice floated out from the darkness. It was actually a pitch-black shadow with only a pair of purple eyes. A specter. The red-clothed envoy stared in shock at the strange thing in front of him. This sort of undead should not have appeared in the Divine Phoenix continent. It should only appear in the Hell continent. No. Why did that voice sound like Ling Zhao's? The red-clothed envoy stared in shock at the specter-like monster, not knowing why he would think this. "You are that Ling Zhao?" the red-clothed envoy asked. The specter naturally did not answer him, but the red-clothed envoy's guess was correct. This specter was indeed under Ling Zhao's control. It came from the divine tomb. Like the skeleton general, it was an undead from another dimension. The difference was that the skeleton general possessed powerful combat strength, while this specter had no combat strength at all. It was used to follow and spy for information. Chapter 1601. Although specters didn't have any battle strength, they could enter any object and wouldn't be hurt by anything. Only soul power could destroy them or discover them. However, one had to be stronger than Ling Zhao in order to achieve this. Ling Zhao used his source spirit to control specters to follow the red-clothed envoy. If he didn't see the city patrol captain, he wouldn't be willing to show himself. If he didn't show himself, no one could discover him. "Even if you don't answer, I know it's you. You traitors actually dared to chase after the Heavenly Sea Empire's sacred envoy. Do you not want to live anymore?" The red-clothed envoy questioned. Ling Zhao still didn't say anything, but his eyes looked at the city patrol captain. Although specters didn't have any physical attacks, they could still use soul attacks. "Selling your daughter for glory. You deserve to die." A strong soul power suddenly entered the city patrol captain's soul realm. That guy's soul realm seemed to explode in an instant. With a pitiful cry, he knelt on the ground and stopped moving. When the red-clothed envoy saw this scene, he was shocked. Although he didn't think that Ling Zhao would dare to make a move here, Facing this kind of lunatic, he didn't dare to treat his life as a joke. Turning around, he fled in the direction of the palace with the green, clothed vice envoy. The spectre once again entered the darkness and continued to follow the red, clothed envoy and green, clothed vice envoy. That's right. Ling Xiao planned to kill these two fellows, but he wanted to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Killing these 2 people was only one of them. Splashing dirty water on the divine Phoenix Empire's royal family was the second. After all, if a sacred envoy died in the palace, even if it wasn't done by the royal family, it would still be hard to escape the blame. So the royal family definitely wouldn't dare to leak this matter out. They would think of a way to help Ling Xiao hide it. Intimidating the divine Phoenix Empire's royal family was the third. Phoenix Cry Chishan went a bit too far. They clearly knew that Everlasting Joy Immortal Island and Canopy Immortal Island were related to him, yet they still sent troops to attack. Since it was like this, if he didn't do anything, then he would be letting down Ling Xiao's overbearing and arrogant personality. After the spectre followed them for a while, Ling Xiao appeared beside it. At this time, Ling Xiao had already sent the others back to Forest Ocean City and then rushed over again. He kept the spectre back into the divine tomb and personally followed the red, clothed envoy and green, clothed vice envoy. After a while, the red, clothed envoy suddenly looked back. It didn't matter if he didn't look, but when he looked, he was shocked. He really didn't know when Ling Xiao had appeared and when he had replaced the black spirit. This fellow was simply like a ghost. Not only was his speed extremely fast, but he was also completely silent. "What do you want?" The red, clothed envoy's asked as he's asked. Ling Xiao didn't say anything. He just floated in the air, the black wings on his back flapping gently. It was as if he didn't exist in this space. I don't believe that you would dare to make a move in Divine Phoenix Empire's Imperial Palace. Seeing that Ling Xiao didn't utter a word and wasn't willing to leave, the red-clothed envoy steeled his heart and turned around to continue speeding towards the Divine Phoenix Empire's Imperial Palace. What he didn't know was that Ling Xiao's goal was to chase him into the Imperial City. If he didn't go, Ling Xiao would have used some other methods. Since he was so obedient now, Ling Xiao could be a little less worried. While flying, the red-clothed envoy turned back to look at Ling Xiao more than once. Ling Xiao's ghost-like figure that followed behind him gave him a lot of psychological pressure. Am I, the sacred envoy of the Tianhai Empire, going to die in the hands of an insignificant nobody? It's really unbearable to meet such a lunatic. He had never seen a guy like Ling Xiao. Not only was his personality crazy, but his strength was also very terrifying. He originally thought that with his second level of yin-yang realm cultivation, he could already crush most of the martial practitioners in the Divine Phoenix continent. That was why he was so impudent after coming to the Divine Phoenix Empire. Together with those martial practitioners from the Water Divine Hall, he did a lot of arrogant and stupid things. But there was no danger. There wasn't even any resistance. Oh, speaking of resistance, there was a little boy around 7 or 8 years old who pointed a slingshot at him and said that he wanted to avenge his mother. Thinking of this, the red-clothed envoy found it funny. An ant dared to resist? So he turned that little boy into a pair of pieces. To him, all living things in the Divine Phoenix continent and the Sky Dragon continent were just ants. He came from the Tianhai Empire of the White Tiger continent and was a sacred envoy. But it was this kind of thinking that was completely destroyed in less than half an hour. The appearance of this lunatic Ling Xiao simply drove him crazy. Finally, they arrived at the Divine Phoenix Empire's Imperial Palace. The red-clothed envoy's face revealed a happy smile. He increased his speed and rushed into the Imperial Palace with the green-clothed envoy. When the Imperial guards saw the two of them, they didn't have any intention of stopping them and allowed them to enter. In the Imperial Palace, many martial practitioners of the Imperial family were cultivating, including Feng Yinshan, Feng Minglian, and others. When they saw the two sacred envoys of the Tianhai Empire appear in the imperial palace in a sorry state, they all rushed out. They really wanted to see who actually dared to chase after the sacred envoys. The imperial guards were very angry. This was the Divine Phoenix Empire, and the two sacred envoys were honored guests of the Divine Phoenix Empire. Now they were actually being chased after. If the Tianhai Empire found out, they would all die. Their gazes looked at the same time in the distance. There was a figure there, clothes as white as snow, black hair dancing wildly. On the young and even somewhat immature face, there was a bit of evil mockery and an extremely domineering expression. It's him. It's Ling Xiao, the Celestial Emperor of the Celestial Empire. How dare he chase after the sacred envoys of the Tianhai Empire? The current Ling Xiao was known by almost everyone in the Divine Phoenix Continent and the Sky Dragon Continent. The battle in the dragon-slaying forest was broadcast live on both continents, so almost everyone recognized this frivolous youth. The red-clothed envoy looked at Ling Xiao proudly and said, "Kid, this is the imperial palace of the Divine Phoenix Empire. What can you do to us now?" "That's right, damn traitor. When we return to the Tianhai Empire, we will definitely report to His Majesty the Emperor. We will tear you into pieces, burn your bones, and scatter your ashes. We will also slaughter your entire Tianhai Empire." The green-clothed envoy's expression was somewhat sinister. It had been a long time since he was chased into such a sorry state. The key was that this was the Divine Phoenix Continent, a continent that they had once looked down on. Ling Xiao did not even look at the two sacred envoys. Instead, he looked at Feng Minglian in the crowd and said, "Lianer, come with me. Today, no one here will dare to stop you from leaving." Previously, Ling Xiao did not come to the imperial palace to forcefully take Feng Minglian away because he thought that his cultivation was not enough. He would be at a disadvantage against Feng Mingxiao, but it was different now. He had become a yin-yang realm martial artist and did not fear Feng Mingxiao at all. In the entire imperial family of the Divine Phoenix Empire, other than Feng Mingxin and Feng Yinshan, no one could be his enemy. Chapter 1602. Okay. Feng Minglian had been waiting for Ling Xiao to pick her up. She didn't take the initiative to leave because she didn't want to cause trouble for Ling Xiao. Now that Ling Xiao was here and took the initiative to pick her up, it meant that Ling Xiao had the ability to do so. She didn't have to hesitate. With a smile, Feng Minglian flew to Ling Xiao's side. "Miss, you can't leave." At this moment, a tall figure blocked Feng Minglian's path. He was a rare second-level yin-yang realm martial artist from the Ice Phoenix tribe. Feng Mingxiao had entrusted him with the important task of guarding Feng Minglian and not allowing her to step out of the palace. He put Feng Minglian under house arrest like a prisoner. "Get out of my way." Feng Minglian looked at the martial artist in front of her and frowned. Her cultivation had reached the yin-yang realm earlier than Ling Xiao. After reaching the first level of the yin-yang realm, her accumulation over the past decade had been completely used up. However, her aptitude wasn't bad. On the contrary, it was very good. Although her cultivation speed couldn't be faster than Ling Xiao's, it was still faster than most people. She could fight this martial artist in front of her, so she wasn't afraid of him at all. "I'm sorry, Mississippi. That's impossible." That person shook his head and was very determined. "Get lost." Feng Minglian still wanted to say something, but suddenly a muffled, thunderous sound exploded. Then the cultivator who blocked Feng Minglian was directly sent flying, crashing heavily into the building of the imperial palace. Of course, he didn't die. Ling Xiao didn't kill him. After all, Ling Xiao wasn't someone who killed indiscriminately. This person didn't deserve to die. Feng Minglian glanced at that person and then flew to Ling Xiao's side like a happy magpie. Ling Xiao patted Feng Minglian's head and smiled. "Follow me in the future. The White Tiger Continent is a gathering place. It's more suitable for our cultivation. Okay. Feng Minglian nodded obediently. Then, Ling Xiao suddenly looked at the Tianhai Empire's Saint Envoy. What do you want? Do you dare to attack me in the palace? After seeing Ling Xiao defeat the martial artist who blocked Feng Minglian in an instant, the red-clothed envoy didn't have much confidence. He felt that Ling Xiao was a lunatic and would dare to attack him in the palace. Ling Xiao looked at him with disdain. Haha, the Tianhai Empire's Saint Envoy. Your eyes is up your head. Back then, when you were harming the citizens of the divine Phoenix continent, you were so awe-inspiring. What about now? Are you afraid that I will kill you? At this moment, many warriors and commoners were watching from the periphery of the imperial city. That was exactly what Ling Xiao wanted to say to win the hearts of the people. He wanted to tell these people that what Feng Mingqishan could not do, he, Ling Xiao, could do. Ling Xiao's piercing voice caused the two holy emissaries of the Tianhai Empire to turn red with shame. Yes, when they bullied the people of the divine Phoenix Empire, they were arrogant and insufferably arrogant. Now, facing the powerful Ling Xiao, they didn't even have the courage to resist. They only dared to escape. The faces of the martial artists in the imperial city were ugly, but the people outside the imperial city were cheering. They didn't know what had happened, but now they all understood. It turned out that Ling Xiao had come to avenge them. Kill those two bastards. Kill those two arrogant fellows. Cui was killed by them. And little Gooden, he's only 7 years old. These two fellows are beasts. Although Ling Xiao was the heavenly emperor of the heavenly empire, in the eyes of the people of the divine Phoenix Empire, he had always been a heroic and legendary figure. Since the day he defeated the Black Crow Empire's army in northern Desert City, it had been like this. A bunch of ants, lowly commoners. What's there to say about killing them? The green-clothed envoy roared. He didn't understand why Ling Xiao was so angry. It was just killing a few lowly commoners. In the eyes of this kind of person, the lives of lowly commoners were worthless. They took it for granted, just like a person stepping on an ant. They didn't feel any guilt at all. Ling Xiao didn't say anything. He raised his right hand, and a shadow all flew through the air. It passed through the gaps between dozens of people and instantly pierced the green-clothed envoy's throat. To you they may be ants, but to me they are my future people. Ling Xiao had once made a great wish to unify the mystic world and establish a true heavenly empire. Then, under this great wish, all the people could be said to be his people. He had the responsibility to save them. Of course, in return, these people had to work hard for his cause. It was that simple. Ling Xiao, you're too arrogant. This is the imperial palace of the divine Phoenix Empire. Don't be too arrogant. Seeing that the green-clothed envoy was killed, some practitioners in the imperial city were unhappy. The one who spoke was a middle-aged man around 40 years old. He seemed to be one of the commanders of the imperial city's imperial guards. His cultivation wasn't bad. He also had the strength of a half-step yin-yang realm. But in the eyes of the current Ling Xiao, this bit of strength was nothing. I'm arrogant? Ling Xiao couldn't help but sneer. Back then it was Feng Ming Wuliang who controlled the northern desert army from behind the scenes, and he was also labeled as a traitor. If there wasn't a moon maiden back then, he would have died at the hands of Timur Mutu. He wouldn't be here today. Back then, did these people from the imperial family even care about his existence? Did they care about the existence of hundreds of thousands of soldiers? Wasn't Feng Ming Wuliang back then even more arrogant than now? The imperial family back then was probably the same as the sacred envoys today. They simply treated him like ants that could be killed at any time. That's right. I'm arrogant. You're not convinced? Ling Xiao couldn't be bothered to explain anything to these people. He looked mockingly at the Imperial Guard commander and smiled. You, The Imperial Guard commander wanted to curse Ling Xiao, but he suddenly realized that he couldn't speak. Ling Xiao could even easily kill a deputy envoy at the first level of Yinyang realm. What was he to him? Not convinced. Even if he wasn't convinced, he had to hold it in. He turned his head to look at Feng Yinshan and said respectfully, "Crown Prince Yinshan, His Majesty the Emperor isn't here. You have to protect the imperial family's glory. Your strength isn't inferior to Ling Xiao's. This person has already committed a capital crime. Why don't you kill him?" His words had actually violated a great taboo. People like Feng Yinshan hated it when others used him the most. He could tolerate Feng Mingqishan, but he couldn't tolerate Feng Mingqishan's dog. The imperial family's glory? Feng Yinshan sneered and said, "From the day Feng Mingqishan ignored the election and proclaimed himself the emperor, the imperial family's glory has become a joke." He wasn't stupid. He wouldn't become enemies with Ling Xiao for Feng Mingqishan. This was a politician. The lives of others weren't worth mentioning in his eyes. He only cared about his own interests. Chapter 1603. Even if Ling Xiao massacred the imperial city today, as long as he did not kill Feng Yinshan's relatives, he would not make a move. Moreover, even he might not be able to defeat Ling Xiao today. Ling Xiao's growth was too fast, so fast that he did not have time to prepare. Feng Yinshan's words caused the Imperial Guard commander's expression to become unsightly. Feng Yinshan had disregarded the rules of the ancestors and seized the position of emperor. This was something everyone knew. Feng Yinshan's reason did not seem to have any problems. However, he felt that this was not the only reason. Perhaps even the crown prince of the Hidden Mountains feared Ling Xiao. His guess was not wrong. Feng Yinshan was indeed afraid of Ling Xiao. Although he was not afraid, he could not fight to the death with Ling Xiao here, because there was no benefit. If things went wrong, both sides would suffer. Suppression, panic. The atmosphere in the air seemed to have frozen. In the imperial city, there were at least thousands of people staring at Ling Xiao, but no one dared to say anything. Ling Xiao had charged into the imperial city alone, but no one had the strength to stop him. This cowardly feeling made them so nervous that they wanted to vomit blood. Ling Xiao glanced at these people with contempt. They had been pampered and had long forgotten what battle was. If they were in the army, even if they were facing an expert, they would not be so cowardly. He looked at the Imperial Guard commander and hooked his finger. "You want to kill me? Do it. I'll give you a chance. 3 moves. After 3 moves, as long as you can touch the corner of my clothes, I'll let you go." Ling Xiao looked at that person with contempt and provoked him with a mocking tone. He would not let go of anyone who wanted to kill him. However, before this Imperial Guard commander died, he could still make some contributions. At the very least, he could let the people outside the city see how powerful he was. Moreover, those who offended him would definitely not have a good ending. That person was stunned. Then he gritted his teeth and pounced at Ling Xiao. He had no choice, because if he did not make a move, Ling Xiao would still kill him. If he made a move, he might still have a chance. He felt that he should be able to touch the corner of the other party's clothes. However, in the blink of an eye, 3 moves had already passed. Not to mention touching the corner of Ling Xiao's clothes. He was simply like a drunkard, battered and exhausted. It was as if he could never find a target. "Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. You can die now." By the time Ling Xiao's voice rang out, he had already reached the Imperial Guard commander's side and placed a hand gently on his shoulder. Cold and emotionless, seeing the commander of the Imperial Army being restrained by Ling Xiao, the Imperial Army soldiers subconsciously released their internal energy in an attempt to rescue him. As expected, soldiers still had some guts. Although they were also used to living like princes, they were still much better than most of the martial artists in the royal family. "Don't blame me for not warning you. I won't show mercy to anyone who attacks me." Ling Xiao held the Imperial Army commander in his hand, but his eyes were looking at the several thousand Imperial Army soldiers below and indifferently smiled. Don't be afraid of him. He's just one person. Let's kill him together. At this moment, several Yin-Yang realm martial artists suddenly appeared in the Imperial City. They all had the mark of the Ice Phoenix clan on their bodies. Clearly, they were the guardians that Feng Ming-Qishan had left in the Imperial City. Perhaps Feng Ming-Qishan had long expected that Feng Yinshan wouldn't sincerely serve him, so he made such preparations. There were a total of 6 people, and their cultivation levels were all at the 2nd level of the Yin-Yang realm. If it was Ling Xiao during the Dragon Phoenix selection, he definitely wouldn't be able to defeat such a lineup. However, Feng Ming-Qishan was still one step behind. He probably didn't expect that Ling Xiao's cultivation level had already reached the Yin-Yang realm. Good timing! Ling Xiao came to the Imperial City to show off his strength to Feng Ming-Qishan. If he didn't make Feng Ming-Qishan feel heartache, there was no point in him coming this time. When he saw the 6 people appear, not only was he not nervous at all, but he was also excited. Heavenly Demon Transformation. In an instant, Ling Xiao entered the Heavenly Demon Transformation state. The Imperial Guard commander in his hand was instantly corroded by the Black Death energy and turned into nourishment for the Heavenly Demon. Even his corpse couldn't be seen. Kill! Without waiting for the other party to attack, Ling Xiao directly charged into the Imperial City. Thousands of martial artists actually dodged, not daring to attack Ling Xiao. The Black Heavenly Demon landed in the crowd, and its huge palm fiercely slammed toward the 6th 2nd level Yin-Yang realm martial artists. Feng Yinshan sighed helplessly. It's over. It's all over. A dragon cub has finally grown into a divine dragon. No one could stop him anymore. At least in the divine Phoenix continent, it was no longer possible. Boom! Black energy exploded in the Imperial City. 6 martial artists at the 2nd level of the Yin-Yang realm were killed by Ling Xiao almost at the same time without being able to put up any resistance. They held miserably in the black energy. However, it was to no avail. Ling Xiao returned to his original appearance and looked at the red-clothed envoy of the Tianhai Empire. You've lived for too long. You can die now. He didn't forget his purpose for coming here. The red-clothed envoy shouted in horror. Feng Yinshan, why aren't you saving me? Unfortunately, Feng Yinshan didn't even look at him. In his despair, Ling Xiao's palm pressed against his forehead, and he died with blood flowing out of his 7 orifices. Too terrifying. That was too cruel. This was Ling Xiao, the celestial emperor of the Tianhai Empire. He had great strength and was fearless. Whoever offended him, he would kill. He would not have the slightest bit of sympathy or pity. That's all for today. Ling Xiao wiped his hands and said loudly, I'll give you 2 hours to consider. Submit to the Tianhai Empire and join the Tianhai Empire, and everything will be over. Otherwise, in 2 hours, the army will press down and the Divine Phoenix Empire will cease to exist. The soldiers and martial artists who refuse to surrender will suffer the same fate as them. Ling Xiao, aren't you going a little too far? Feng Yinshan finally frowned. Too far? I say, Crown Prince Yinshan, ever since your imperial family targeted me and tried to kill me, we've had a grudge against each other. Could it be that you're only allowed to kill me, but I'm not allowed to deal with you? Is there such a logic in this world? Ling Xiao disdainfully sneered. Feng Yinshan, I didn't kill you because I wasn't completely confident. Secondly, you and I were once allies. Moreover, you've never done anything too excessive to me. But today, if you insist on stopping me, then we can only meet in battle. Can I take the Fire Phoenix tribe and leave? Feng Yinshan asked after a moment of thought. Of course, Ling Xiao wasn't magnanimous, but if Feng Yinshan stopped him, it would be even more troublesome to take down the imperial capital. If Feng Yinshan wanted to leave, he would be happy. Of course, if Feng Yinshan insisted on being his enemy, He wouldn't mind directly exterminating the Fire Phoenix tribe. Thank you. To Feng Yinshan, he had completely failed in the battle of the Divine Phoenix continent. Chapter 1604. Although Feng Yinshan had not lost to Feng Mingqishan, he had completely lost to Ling Xiao. Now that the Heavenly Empire was powerful, he knew that it was impossible for him to turn the tide. The only choice was to leave this place and head to the White Tiger continent. He looked at the string of sandalwood beads in his hand. He had obtained this thing a long time ago. He had thought that he would never be able to use this thing. He didn't expect that it would come in handy now. People of the Fire Phoenix tribe, listen up. Those who are willing to follow me, go back and pack your things now. It will take at most an hour. Feng Yinshan took a deep breath. His defeat this time did not mean that he would lose forever. Perhaps he would come back in the future. Other than the Fire Phoenix tribe, the other martial artists who belong to the Divine Phoenix Imperial family will die unless they surrender. There is no third choice. Ling Xiao could let Feng Yinshan leave because he did not want to face two powerful enemies, Feng Yinshan and Feng Mingqishan at the same time. He could not see through Feng Yinshan's cultivation. Moreover, this guy seemed to have other forces supporting him. It was just that on the Divine Phoenix continent, the force behind him could not fully display its strength. Therefore, Ling Xiao did not want to be enemies with this guy. Unless there was no other choice, it was not a good idea to meet on the battlefield. Ling Xiao could let him leave. In terms of growth, he believed that he would not be inferior to Feng Yinshan. So what if Feng Yinshan went out and started a new life? He would only grow faster than Feng Yinshan. As for the others, they could forget about leaving. He was not that kind. Feng Yinshan left. Ling Xiao did not leave. He sat on the seat that should have belonged to Feng Mingqishan. He closed his eyes and seemed to be resting. Feng Minglian had already left for Linhai City. Outside, the army of the Heavenly Empire had already arrived. This army was strange. Not only were there humans, but there were also the Sea Clan, the Divine Phoenix Clan, and the Black Crow Clan. It was simply a mixed army. However, the soldiers were loyal and united. This was a very rare sight. In the current mystic world, only Ling Xiao could gather these people and unify them. They didn't make a move because they were waiting for Ling Xiao's orders. At the same time, they were also resting. The army had fought their way here from overgrown Forest City, and they were a little tired. Ling Xiao's 2-hour limit was actually to give these martial artists some time to rest. Otherwise, they would have already started fighting. During this period of time, several armies of the Divine Phoenix Empire successively joined the Heavenly Dynasty Empire. Just like in the past, these soldiers who had defected at the last minute were often used as the vanguard because they could not be completely trusted. Place it between the two armies. Moreover, the order had been disrupted, and the general leading the army had been replaced. If these people sincerely fight, then they can obtain the support of the Heavenly Empire's army. If they were only pretending to surrender, then all of them would be killed in an instant. This had always been the Celestial Empire's strategy towards the surrendered troops. As long as you can display middle city and combat strength, then you can be treated equally. Otherwise, it would be a different story. Ling Xiao was still resting there, as if he had forgotten everything that was happening outside. In the Imperial Palace, those soldiers who were guarding the monarch all had ugly expressions. Ling Xiao was actually sitting on their monarch's throne in such a grandiose manner, not taking them seriously at all. To the experts of the Divine Phoenix Empire, simply treating them as nothing. Ling Xiao did not kill them, but tormented their hearts like this. They did not want to surrender because they were the most loyal guards of Phoenix, Cry Chishan. But they did not dare to attack Ling Xiao because they believed that they did not have that kind of strength. The result of making a move was very likely to be all killed. Ling Xiao did not kill them to display his benevolence and magnanimity to the people. It was not that he did not dare to kill them, nor was it that he sympathized with them. and the time for this display was only 2 hours. After that, they would still die. The sky was already dark. Ling Xiao was still sitting on that throne with his eyes closed. But in the next moment, his eyes suddenly opened, his gaze ice cold, and a cold smile appeared on his face. The guards were shocked, thinking that their time of death had arrived. But when they looked at the huge clock on the throne, they realized that there was still an hour left. Just as they were shocked, a dozen figures suddenly appeared in the hall. They actually did not notice the appearance of these people at all. They were like ghosts, mysterious and powerful. They were all Yin-Yang realm martial artists. Of the 20 people, 10 were at the first level of the Yin-Yang realm, 8 were at the second level of the Yin-Yang realm, and the remaining 2 were at the third level of the Yin-Yang realm. What faction actually had such a powerful lineup of martial artists? And the weapons in these people's hands were very strange. They were not sabers or swords. They were all ring-shaped objects with sharp blades around them. Flying guillotine. This name appeared in Ling Xiao's mind. It was the knowledge that came from the memories of the other world. These people's weapons were very similar to the flying guillotine, but there were some differences, because the weapons in their hands were all engraved with special inscriptions, and they were all common grade spirit artifacts. In his memory, he had never seen such weapons in the mystic world. As for these people's identities, he could not guess. He could only feel that the aura coming from each of them was so cold, austere, and indifferent. It was as if they did not care about their lives. 20 Yin-Yang realm experts. That's really a lot. Ling Xiao raised his eyelids and sneered. Although he did not know who the mastermind behind these people was, to be able to mobilize so many Yin-Yang realm experts to deal with him, it was definitely not an ordinary person. Moreover, this mastermind must really think highly of him and might even know him very well. They must know that ordinary people could not deal with him. So they sent this group to deal with him. Dark God Hall, Water God Hall, Righteous Alliance, or the Patriarch Assembly. In Ling Xiao's impression, other than these few forces, no one else would be able to send out such a powerful team to assassinate him. Although he knew that the other party would not answer, he still asked, hoping to see some clues from the other party's eyes. But he was disappointed. These 20 people had obviously gone through strict and systematic training before they were able to do so. Each one of them had an extremely strong mental fortitude. Ling Xiao's Taiji, I could not see what they were thinking. Interesting. It was as if Ling Xiao had discovered a very interesting toy. An excited smile appeared on his face. If the opponent was too weak, it would not be fun. What he wanted was a strong opponent like this, one that could stimulate his potential to erupt. It doesn't matter who sent you. What's important is that you've gone too far, so you can die. A cold voice came from one of the assassins. Chapter 1605. As the assassin's cold voice rang out, the air in the entire hall seemed to have turned eerie and cold. It was as if they had been submerged in a cold lake. The 20 ancient martial art practitioners and 20 flying guillotines flew towards Ling Xiao at the same time. The blood-red glow appeared even more eerie and terrifying under the faint moonlight. The piercing sound caused the guards in the court hall to cover their ears. The attack this time was almost omnidirectional. All angles were sealed off. Ling Xiao had no room to escape. No matter how fast he was, there had to be space for him to dodge. These people obviously knew of his terrifying speed, so they did not give him any chance to escape. These were truly terrifying assassins. They were even more outstanding than the assassins from the Dark God Palace. They cooperated well, attacked decisively, and did not waste time. If it were anyone else, they would find this sudden attack very troublesome. Unfortunately, they were facing Ling Xiao. When the flying guillotines were less than a meter away from Ling Xiao, a terrifying flame and blinding light suddenly erupted from Ling Xiao's body. The 20 assassins seemed to have lost their vision at that moment. Everything in front of them was white, and they could not see anything. When they opened their eyes, they saw a monster wrapped in white bones sitting on the throne. His body was slightly larger than a human's, and his cold eyes revealed a chilling, murderous intent. At this moment, he was holding two heads in his claw-like hands. They were actually the two strongest assassins. Almost all the flying guillotines lost contact in an instant. They were melted into molten iron by the terrifying black flames and dripped onto the ground. Oh no, something's wrong with this guy. Retreat. After their attack failed, the assassins also noticed Ling Xiao's abnormality. The power of Hell Physique was too terrifying. With the increase in his strength, Ling Xiao faced a level 3 Yin-Yang realm ancient martial art practitioner as easily as facing a child. The assassins turned around and attempted to leave. However, at this moment, all the doors and windows in the hall closed, emitting a sound that made one's heart tremble. The assassins attempted to break open the door and window, but they realized that the window and door were wrapped by something that looked like white bones. No matter how hard they tried, they wouldn't budge. Since you're already here, why leave? Ling Xiao casually tossed the enemy's head to the ground and said with a mocking and cruel tone, "Monster!" The expressions of the assassins were extremely ugly. They knew that they would not be able to escape today. Therefore, everyone took out a dagger and reformed their battle formation, looking at Ling Xiao warily. Not bad. Although I don't know who trained you assassins, you're really not bad. You're able to face the death of 2 Yin-Yang realm 3rd level assassins calmly. You didn't cry for your parents or surrender. Not bad at all. Ling Xiao smiled, but he was even more confused in his heart. Who was it that could actually cultivate such a death warrior? If it were anyone else, they would have already knelt down and begged for mercy after witnessing the scene just now. However, the remaining 18 people were different. They didn't beg for mercy, and they actually wanted to continue fighting. I'll give you a chance to kill me. However, you only have 3 minutes. Once the time is up, it'll be my turn. Ling Xiao wanted to find some clues from the battle, which was why he said such words. Go. The assassins didn't hold back. Since there was no way to escape, they might as well fight to the death. The 18 people charged at Ling Xiao in a very rhythmic and orderly manner. When they were less than 3 meters away from Ling Xiao, they suddenly threw out a strange pellet at the same time. There was no explosion, only smoke and dust that filled the hall. Poisonous fog? No, this fog isn't poisonous. Ling Xiao stood there and muttered to himself. Although it isn't poisonous, it can block soul, power, and 5 senses. It's really powerful. In such a dangerous situation, he actually smiled. Moreover, he was smiling very happily. Suddenly, a cold-killing intent attacked him from behind. Ling Xiao's body flashed, and he easily dodged it. However, in the direction where he dodged, another cold light seemed to have been waiting for him, as if it had been prepared for a long time. Interesting, really interesting. Ling Xiao reached out and punched. The fist and the blade collided, and there was a shocking explosion. Then there was a grunt. Ling Xiao attempted to give chase, only to discover that from behind and behind him, several cold rays of light were once again attacking him. Too interesting you can actually cooperate so well. It seems like you all have suffered a lot for training. Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment, then he smiled. He gave up on chasing the enemy in front of him and turned around to attack the left. In such a situation, passively defending was the most dangerous thing. Only by attacking could one resolve the crisis. He promised to give them 3 minutes, but he didn't say that he wouldn't attack. Facing these Yin-Yang realm assassins, unless there was something wrong with their heads, they wouldn't set such a trap for themselves. Boom! The explosive fist aura forced the assassin in front of him back, but he couldn't use his full strength. This was because the moment he attacked, the other assassins would attack from different angles, making it impossible for him to concentrate on dealing with the enemy in front of him. I have never seen such a fighting style before. It seems like these people aren't from the divine Phoenix continent. Ling Xiao pondered as he fought. However, he still couldn't determine the identity of the enemy. Although the other party's fighting style was very unique, he had never seen it before, so he couldn't deduce anything. Even a Yuan Venerate couldn't help him with this. Forget it. Since I can't deduce anything, I'll just kill them. Ling Xiao didn't intend to play anymore. It was time to end this boring assassination game. 3 minutes have passed. You all have already lost your chance. As Ling Xiao's voice was heard, a terrifying killing intent erupted from his body. This killing intent was like a gust of wind, blowing away the fog that filled the court hall. It also blew away all the 18 assassins. Ling Xiao once again sat on the throne of Phoenix Cry Chi Mountain. He used his hand to support his cold chin and said indifferently, "I'll give you all a chance. Whoever reveals the mastermind behind this can leave this place alive. Not going to speak? Then I'll kill you all one by one. Let's see if you can hold on." Ling Xiao grinned maliciously before pointing at the guard captain, who was already trembling in fear. "You do it. Me. If you don't do it, you'll die," Ling Xiao said indifferently. His voice was cold and emotionless. The guard captain gritted his teeth, raised the steel blade in his hand, and walked over to an assassin. He had to do this. After all, he had seen how powerful and terrifying Ling Xiao was. Chapter 1606. The guard commander had no choice but to obey Ling Xiao's orders. This was because he had personally witnessed how terrifying Ling Xiao was. Ling Xiao was able to easily deal with 20 Yin-Yang realm assassins. And what exactly was that terrifying white bone armor? Ling Xiao wasn't human. He was a monster. Although he didn't know the answers to these questions, there was one thing he understood. That was because Ling Xiao was too strong. He was definitely not someone they could fight against. He still had a family to feed, so how could he die here and serve Phoenix Cry Chi-shan? In any case, Phoenix Cry Chi-shan had never shown him any kindness, so he didn't feel too guilty. Crack! An icy voice rang out as an assassin's head fell to the ground. "Next, speak of the mastermind behind all of you." Ling Xiao's voice was still indifferent and emotionless. The 18 assassins had all been killed. Not a single one of them was willing to say a single word before dying. Ling Xiao had even used the 3-leaf demonic eye to try and control their minds. But the mastermind had clearly thought of this. The moment the 3-leaf demonic eye opened, the assassins all died with inexplicable screams. Even their souls were obliterated, leaving behind not a single wisp of consciousness. Even though he had killed the assassins, Ling Xiao didn't relax in the slightest. This opponent was too terrifying. This person understood him extremely well and had such a powerful faction. Just who was he? He clearly knew that his cultivation was so powerful that he didn't even place the 7 heroes of Water God Hall in his eyes. He clearly knew that he had the help of the Moon Lady and the Wine Demon Sword, 2 peak experts, and he still dared to target him. This meant that his opponent wasn't afraid of the Moon Lady or the Wine Demon Sword. It seems like it really is a faction from the White Tiger continent. Could it be Water God Hall or the Tian Hai Empire? Guesses were just guesses. Ling Xiao wouldn't waste time on pointless guesses. He shook his head and then stood up, looking at the pitch-black night sky outside. Perhaps he would have to be even more cautious when heading to the White Tiger continent in the future. There's still 1 hour. Ling Xiao looked at the huge wall clock behind him and dropped the unnecessary speculation in his heart. As for the matters of the White Tiger continent, they would talk about it after they reached the White Tiger continent. He wouldn't stop just because he was afraid. Right now, it was best to settle the matter of the Divine Phoenix continent first. From this night onwards, the Divine Phoenix Empire would no longer exist on the Divine Phoenix continent. Only the Celestial Empire. While Ling Xiao was waiting for the troops to be dispatched Two crucial battles were also taking place on the Five Immortals Island, tens of thousands of miles away. On Tianpeng Immortal Island, Lord Zhu Wen and Feng Mingxiao were engaged in a fierce battle. On the other hand, Canopy Immortal Island's martial practitioners were valiantly resisting the Divine Phoenix Empire's army. Although they were severely outnumbered, the Five Immortals Island was still the Five Immortals Island. A starving camel is still bigger than a horse. It would not be so easy to swallow Tianpeng Immortal Island. This was a miserable battle. He had originally thought that Tianpeng Immortal Island would suffer a crushing defeat in the end. Even though the Divine Phoenix Empire would have to pay a price for this, they would still be able to achieve victory. However, on the second day of the battle, there was an unforeseen event. In the sky, a bright moon suddenly illuminated the entire Immortal Island. Under that moonlight, the Divine Phoenix Empire's army suddenly collapsed. Death quickly spread. It's the Moon Maiden. The Heavenly Dynasty Empire's reinforcements have arrived. An inspiring roar came from Tianpeng Immortal Island, even though there was only one reinforcement. However, to them this was already enough. The bugle horn for a counterattack sounded. The side that was originally being killed became the side that was slaughtering. There was no sympathy or mercy to speak of on the battlefield. The battle lasted for a day and a night. The Divine Phoenix Empire's army of hundreds of thousands was almost completely annihilated. Only a few lucky ones survived. As for Feng Mingxiao, he was injured by Zhu Wen and fell into the stormy ocean, his whereabouts unknown. At the same time, on the other side, on the Sacred Dynasty's Immortal Island, beside the demon liquor sword stood two people. One was Ji Mengmeng, and the other was her weak elder brother. Even though her elder brother had already recovered from his insanity, his body was still very weak. At this moment, on the Sacred Dynasty's Immortal Island, a tragic battle was going on. The joint army formed by the Blackwater Immortal Island and the Permitha Immortal Island was crazily slaughtering the practitioners on the island. Ji Mengmeng nervously closed her eyes. She didn't dare to watch, even though she hated that family that tried to kill her only relative and wanted to kill her. However, such a tragic scene still made her feel very uncomfortable. Young lady, open your eyes. This is the reality of the profound world. In this world, there is no sympathy or mercy. There is only strength. If your strength is not enough and your cultivation is not enough, then what you face is only contempt and slaughter. The demon liquor sword said indifferently, closing your eyes is just like burying your head in the sand like an ostrich. It won't change anything. Ji Mengmeng opened her eyes. Even though her body was still trembling, she persevered. She thought of what happened at the Blackwater Lake. If it wasn't for Ling Xiao at that time, she might have been killed long ago. No one would sympathize with her, including those so-called relatives of hers. None of them would come to save her. The massacre finally ended. The practitioners of the Blackwater Immortal Island and the Permitha Immortal Island began to celebrate. However, they didn't expect that. This was just a little bit of joy before the end of the world. The pitch-black sword chi in the sky suddenly slashed down. The prelude to the doomsday of the two immortal islands began. The first to be killed were the island masters of the Blackwater Immortal Island and the Permitha Immortal Island. These two were once insufferably arrogant existences. They had once treated Ling Xiao as an ant and tried to kill him. Under the pitch-black sword light of the demon liquor sword, they were not even worth mentioning. They had just experienced a tragic battle and were already very weak. In addition, their cultivation was far inferior to the demon liquor sword. After being killed, they didn't even have the slightest reaction. They were pitiful dogs of the phoenix cry, Chi Mountain. In the end, they ended up in such a miserable state. It had to be said that this was a huge tragedy. This time, the Blackwater Immortal Island and the Permitha Immortal Island had sent out almost all of their practitioners. A portion of them died in the battle with the sacred dynasty Immortal Island. The rest all died under the demon liquor Sword. After finishing the matter here, the demon liquor Sword headed to the everlasting joy Immortal Island. The Moon Maiden was the same. They had agreed to meet Ling Xiao at the everlasting joy Immortal Island. The everlasting joy Immortal Island would be the place where the final battle between the Heavenly Dynasty Empire and the Divine Phoenix Empire would take place. It might not be a battle between two armies, but it was equally important. The Phoenix Cry, Qi Mountain, was there. The Black and White Elders were also there. Almost all of the elites of the Divine Phoenix Empire were there. On the other side, the war in the Divine Phoenix Empire had already begun, because a large number of troops had chosen to surrender, coupled with the support of the people for Ling Xiao, the Heavenly Emperor. It was simply too easy for the army to take over the Divine Phoenix Empire. They could only continue south, surrender, or attack. They began to completely conquer the Divine Phoenix Empire. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.